Okay, so welcome back, Elaine, to the Zoom room. Another Art of Letting Go live session. So let's jump into today's email and some teaching around that, which will lead us nicely into our lesson for today, Workbook Lesson 73 we're on. All right, so share my screen with you. So if you can read the quote.
Yeah, a willing mind makes,
Yeah.
a willing mind makes a light foot. Scottish proverb.
The Scottish proverb, yeah. So today's quote tells us that light implies doing because of the foot. A willing mind makes a light foot. So it's really talking internal aspect, and then the light foot refers to how that plays out in action. Actually, the quote in a very short sentence incorporate and the exterior aspect of reality. So willing mind, subject of self, of thoughts, emotions, memories, states of mind, perception, media. Mind is willing, then that affects on the exterior level the body. The light foot refers to walking in this world. So there's a reference really to a journey. What's the journey going to be like? How's the willing mind play out on the level of form? In other words, what are your words and your actions and behavior going to be? And so in a very simple quote, it's actually quite profound. It's an integral quote. It's talking about two of the quadrants and how they relate to each other in one simple sentence of, what's that, 7 words. Willing mind makes a light foot. So you might say, well, a willingness to do what? And so willingness to allow the light, remember light, as we translate it, is awareness, or true awareness of the eternal infinite presence, or awareness of love that can be called God, to fill your mind and completely guide your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions moment by moment. So it's the mind that's willing to enter into this presence and then be guided, that this presence or light, inner light, will help you walk with a lightness of foot, to which the proverb refers. And this is just a light-hearted, carefree attitude to whatever it is you're doing in life, in which happiness, peace, love, and flow are ever present in your awareness. So in other words, living in a miracle-minded state, living in a way that is completely present, that you're not carrying the past and the future with you, and you're able to listen to the guidance of the Holy Spirit moment by moment. So in the New Testament, Yeshua advises his followers to temporarily remain in, but not be of the world, in this quote from Gospel of John. So you can just read that, Elaine. I've given them your word.
I have given them your word, and the world has hated them because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. I do not ask you to take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world.
Yeah. So really what he's saying in the Bible is be in the world temporarily, but you're not of this world. You know, that's a very clear message. And then he also urges us to, we can read that quote from Matthew.
Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
So what does he mean by that? Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. He means that any problems we may encounter should be faced when they arise, rather than worrying about them in advance. Should only take us out of the present moment and burden our minds with worries. So whatever you deal, what he's saying with it really is deal with whatever you have to deal with today without worrying about tomorrow. So you face whatever, you know, is happening in the present moment, and that's the only way to deal with it. And this light-hearted approach to life is what he advocates in today's workbook lesson. But before we dive into this, just a brief chat about the bonus recording of another live meditation discussion session held in 2021, which we talked about how to allow love to extend through you. So we dealt with workbook lesson 71. We looked at grandeur versus grandiosity. We did a meditation. We did an expression session, which Karen expressed her difficulty with allowing the Holy Spirit, awareness of love to express through her due to past conditioning, a theme that was echoed by Sue. We discussed this in light of the principles contained in the workbook lesson and text that I'd read in the meditation earlier, explained how the remembrance of love in you can use whatever form of worldly activity you engage in. In Karen's case at the time, she was doing sales and marketing for a business, to express and extend love through you into the world. This can lead to miraculous results. For example, in a business situation, Karen's at the time, happier customers, increased sales, better business performance. But the real reason to do it is because it helps you get out of your ego's comfort zone, let go of some more fear, and grow in your own understanding of and connection with love, which is the only real purpose for anything we do in life. So the outcomes on the level of form are merely secondary confirmation that love works, what Yeshua calls miracles, and witnessing these miracles strengthens our belief in love. But to value these outcomes over the love that inspires them is to deny the true miracle. That is the return of the awareness of love to your mind and the minds of the people whose lives you touch. Once again, allow the ego, which is just your belief in separation and the separate self, to direct your life. So kind of what we talked about in the expression. It's all about allowing the flow, being present, doing one thing at a time, and that's the way to be miracle minded. And that's the way to take no thought for the morrow, but just be present to today. Face whatever you need to face today. Tomorrow's another day. When tomorrow comes, you deal with whatever arises then, and that's the way to flow with life and to be able to then handle whatever's coming. You can always handle what's coming up in the present moment, can't you? What you can't handle is the future. Okay, right now I'm dealing with this. Okay, so even if it's a difficult situation, maybe even a crisis, right now I can do something. Maybe it's just to relax and meditate on it. Maybe I take some action on it. What I can't handle is, oh my God, it's a crisis and there's all these things, and what am I going to do? And now I'm going 10 steps ahead and I'm trying to manage it all in my mind. I can't manage that. I can't cope.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah. And so that's what's, that's what's to avoid. Okay, discipline my mind. I'm not going there. I'm going into I'm going into the present moment. I'm going to stay present right here, right now. Okay. And fundamentally, right here and right now, I'm okay. Well, I have my awareness. I'm clear. I'm calm. I'm present. And if I'm not, then I can bring myself into that state because I have spiritual practices to do that. Once I'm in the correct state of mind, I'm present. I'm reasonably calm and clear. I can then go, okay, so what is there to do? If there's a situation, what in this state can I do to resolve it? Maybe there's nothing I can do except to let go of it, in which case that's what I do. But if there's an action to be taken, then I will take that action.
Mm.
And so it flows forward. If you can stay in the now, then you can deal with whatever life has to offer to you. Whatever challenges arise, you can deal with them in the now, moment by moment. You cannot deal with them in the future because the future doesn't exist. You can't get a grasp on that. You're like but it's not now, is it? So you're often an illusory reality trying to manage that. And what it does is it incapacitates you now. So you can't actually function properly now. And that, of course, is what the ego wants. You're just in a state of mental and emotional turbulation. You're disturbed. Your peace is disturbed. You're far away from pure formless awareness of perfect love. The ego is well in charge, and that's where it wants to keep you. So that past future channel will keep you there and keep you stuck, spinning around in a maelstrom of thought and really being very ineffective, not being very happy, being very ineffective. It's not an effective, productive way to function in life. Sneeze on the truth of that. So I titled the session, How to Be Truly Successful in Life, because that's actually what success means. It's not really about the outcomes that you get. It's the quality of your moment-by-moment experience that determines your success, isn't it? If you're able to stay in a peaceful, calm, happy state, no matter what seems to be happening in your life, that is success.
Yeah.
And then the action and the results will come from that. If you're able to stay in that state, you will tend to, your action will be higher quality. The results tend to follow. Not to say you never get any challenges and things are always going to go swimmingly, but when you're in the flow, what unfolds is generally a lot better in terms of the outcomes. But the key thing is you're not attached to the outcome. You're actually focusing on your present moment by moment experience. That's what it means to be miracle-minded. That's what it means to be really living this course. That is what true success means. And so you see how all these things start to merge, whether you look at it from the perspective of, well, how do you be successful in life? Or how do you be more conscious? How do you be more aware? How do you be happier? It all comes down to the same thing. It all collapses into one way that works, and the alternative, the ego, clearly doesn't work. And it comes down to a choice. Well, which way am I choosing? Which guide am I choosing? The ego, no matter what it says or does, no matter what external outcomes you may get, you may, using the ego, make money, you may have status, professional success, and so on. And yet, if you're not in the now and you're not happy, you're not successful. So it's simple. So many people have done that with the ego. Just look at the celebrity magazines, and they're deeply unhappy people. That's not a successful life, is it? No matter what they've achieved on the level of form. And on some level, they know that. They know that it's actually their imposter. They've seemingly done, and everyone's like, wow, you've done so well. And yet within them, they don't feel that. And that, they're not living that. So everyone says, oh, you're living the dream. And they're like, well, actually, it's more like a nightmare. True success, being able to manage your mental and emotional state moment by moment. So you're in the now, you're fully present, and there's an underlying peace, happiness, and the flow in your life. And if you can stay in that state most of the time, that's what true success means. in these terms, in course terms. Okay, so any questions on that? Otherwise, it's a very nice preparation for today's lesson, which is lesson number 73 we're on to. So if you can read that in the original and the alternative.
Yeah. I will there be light. Yeah.
Let's just go into start the recording, and I'll go into it in the. Okay, so lesson 73. You can read the original and the alternative, and then into yeah, let's just discuss this first, because I did quite a bit of translation. Normally I don't translate as much, but I thought it required it if we're going to be authentic to the translated version. So read those two, we'll have a little discussion on, and we'll go into paragraph 1.
Yeah, I will there be light. And the alternative, I choose to be in and extend the state of pure formless awareness.
Yeah, so what is I will there be light? It sounds lovely, doesn't it? I mean, it's one of those lessons you go, I will there be light, and you can kind of
It's a bit
feel
too
into it.
abstract, isn't it?
But what does it actually mean? You know, I will there be light. If you really look at it, I think a lot of people who do this lesson would go, okay, it sounds nice, and maybe I can get a bit of inspiration from just saying the words, will there be light? But what does it actually mean? So the translated version kind of breaks that down. But what it means is I'm choosing to be in and to extend the state of pure formless awareness. Light is our true awareness, pure formless awareness, as we call it. So when I will, I'm saying there's a choice, right? There's a conscious intention or choice to be in it, in the state, and then also to extend it. Because the implication in this is that will there be light, not just for myself, but for the world. So I choose to be in and extend this inner state of pure formless awareness, which I can access right now. In fact, now is the only time I can access it. And then I can extend it in my thoughts, my words, my actions. And that's much more practical. That's much more doable, isn't it? I choose to be in the state of pure formless awareness. If we want to phrase that differently, I choose to be in a state of flow. Right? So if I'm in a state of pure formless awareness while I'm in action, that's a state of flow. It means the mind is quiet, I'm calm, I'm rooted in my true awareness. And if I need to think, I can, but often in the state of flow, there's very, very little thought. I'm not actually needing to think, I'm just acting. It's kind of just happening in and through me. That's what characterizes the state of flow. So no conscious thought, oh, I need to do this now, I need to do this. It's just, okay, this is what feels right, I go with it. And actually very little thought needs to happen. You watched the movie Forrest Gump, didn't you?
Yes, very good.
So that's a great movie to watch to demonstrate what that state is like. So Forrest is not an intelligent man. His IQ is, 75 or whatever it is. So intellectually not smart, but what he does do exceptionally well is he's in the moment. So, okay, well, I'm doing this. I'm fully present. I'm giving it my full attention. And there's nothing else in that moment for Forrest. He's not thinking about the 10 other things he's got to do. So as a result, his action is high quality action. Whatever he does extremely well. And so in some ways, he's higher functioning than people who are, more normal, more sort of higher IQ. And, so contrast with his, you remember his captain in the army. He was full of anger and rage and like just, more intelligent, so-called, but actually just a mental and emotional wreck. And he has to go to Forest and, go through that experience on the boat to kind of purge that and go, okay, actually, there's healing there. The same with his girlfriend, if you remember, Jenny.
Yes, Jenny. Yeah, yes.
So she was a mess because she'd been abused by her father.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's seeking outside of her to try and, fill that hole and alleviate the pain. And of course, it's just not working. I remember there's a great conversation where she takes him up to her dorm room. She's in college, and she's trying to explain to him what she wants to do. Well, I'd like to become a singer and go to Hollywood and become like more than I am now. Like, to her, that's completely understandable. And Forrest goes, but like, how can you be more than what you are? I'm just Forrest.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah, and so
Mm-hmm.
there's the two thought systems. She's seeking another self to become a better Jenny because she doesn't like her current version of Jenny, and she thinks
Yeah.
that's going to make her happier. And that's very common, actually. The
Mm.
damaged people try and become famous or rich
Reinvent themselves.
celebrities because they
Well,
think it's a way to manage that pain, to somehow, find
they,
a way out of it
they
and become
call it
happier.
reinvent themselves, don't they? Like Madonna,
Hmm.
reinvent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you listen to Marisa Peer, who's done a lot of work with these kinds of celebrities. She's like, it's not that it's not that celebrities or successful people then have these issues. She's saying damaged people seek that success in the world to try and manage their mental and emotional dysfunction. That's their ego tells them this is the way to do it. Go play the game right, become rich, successful, famous, and then you'll be better. Then you'll feel better. And then they do it, and they don't feel better. In fact, often they feel worse. They feel like empty inside. They feel like imposters. They feel like actually the success and the money and the fame doesn't really mean anything. And then where do they go? Well, often they turn to drugs and alcohol, don't they? It's like, well, where else do you go to try and alleviate your pain? And when that doesn't work, then often they end up with her. And really, all she says to them is, you need to start by affirming who you are. That you are enough. Your entire problem is that you don't feel like you're good enough, that you're lovable. In other words, going back to first principles of your self-concept. And if you change that, then that's going to change everything. And this is what it means to say, I will there be light. I am willing to go to the light in myself, my true awareness, in which there is my true value, my true worth as a human being, with the emphasis on being, is there and nowhere else. When I'm willing to go into that light, into that awareness, then whatever comes flows out of that light state. And so a willing mind makes a light foot, as the proverb says. Then I can operate in a light-hearted, happy, carefree way, and the kinds of actions that I take and the results that I get will tend to be higher quality, as is demonstrated quite well in the Forrest Gump movie. Being fully present in the moment. That movie is actually teaching Zen. If you really
Mm-hmm.
understand what Zen is, that is teaching a very Zen way of life through the story of Forrest and how he operates. And it's saying,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually a much better way of operating. Look at what he does, look at the results he achieves, and it seems to be effortless. He just does it. There's none of the mental and emotional drama that characterizes the other characters in the story. And he's way more successful than them, and then he becomes a healer to them. You can see that they come to him, even though he's so simple and stupid, they go to him because he's got something that they're lacking, that they're missing, and they
Mm-hmm.
recognize that. And his girlfriend, who then ultimately becomes his wife, finds some peace. She finds some healing through her relationship with him. So there's a holy relationship in it. And his captain finds finds a way to let go of all of that anger and rage and reinvent himself. And he has to go to Forrest to help him do that. So it's really, that movie is multi-layered. If you understand it, it's really teaching Zen Buddhism. It's teaching the holy relationship. It's teaching healing, and that's all in underlying the whole story, which is it's why it's a great movie, because there's deeper spiritual principles being taught. All right, so We'll watch it later this year again. And yeah, these are
Yeah.
timeless. You can watch those kinds of movies
Yeah,
again and
you can
again because it's
actually.
a
They
message.
feel good.
Well,
It,
it's it reminds you, doesn't it? It's a reminder. Okay,
it
I know
does,
the
and
principle, but you
it's just
watch
all
it and it's
it
demonstrated, and you go, oh, actually, that's quite inspiring because it reminds me
is.
of the
I did enjoy
principles
that
of
film. I
authority.
could watch that again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's included in the course at some point. Is one of our movies
Yeah.
to watch on Saturday. So. That's coming. And that's why like I don't necessarily change them. Apart from the fact it's quite a lot of work to get another movie. But the point is these movies have a message and you watch them and you can watch them. I've watched The Matrix 20 times, maybe more. You can watch them and you can be inspired and you can get, it's like a deeper level of understanding that message as you evolve in your journey. You go, oh, I kind of get it now. I really see it. And I watched the movie a couple of years ago and I didn't really see it. In the same way as we can do the lessons over and over again and the text. And it's like, oh, I'm really getting it now on a deeper level. And it's part of my practice of connecting with the light moment by moment. Okay, so let's go into the paragraph 1 of the lesson, if you can read that in the original and kindly.
Today we are considering the will you share with God. Today I'm considering the will I share with pure formless awareness of perfect love. This is not the same as the ego's idle wishes, out of which darkness and nothingness arise. This is not the same as the belief in separation's false and ideal wishes, out of which limited awareness and nothingness arise. The will you share with God has all the power of creation in it. The awareness I share with pure formless awareness of perfect love has all the power of being in it. The ego's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. The belief in separation's idle wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all.
I think just pause it there, mate. Maybe we should make idle into futile. I think that's a
Yeah.
better. It's like you've got all these things going on that you wish for, but actually there's no real purpose to them. So, futile wishes, which limited awareness and nothingness arise. Okay, so just read that again. The belief in separation's futile wishes.
The belief in separation's futile wishes are unshared and therefore have no power at all. Its wishes are not idle in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which your belief can be very strong. Its wishes are not futile in the sense that they can make a world of illusions in which my belief can be very strong. But they are idle indeed in terms of creation. But they are futile indeed in terms of extension. They make nothing that
Change that
is
to being.
real or being.
Change
In
that to
terms of
being. They're
being.
futile indeed in terms of being. So whatever you're doing in these futile wishes, it's a departure from your true being. So it contradicts that, and so they make nothing that is real. You're creating a whole illusion of a self and a reality, which can be, as I said, the belief can be very strong. And look at the power of belief. It's created all of this. The entire universe, physical world, the body. It's all a product of a belief in separation and the futile wishes that arise out of that. So it does something, but he's saying that something is really nothing because it's not real. It's a false reality in which we've now got ourselves enslaved and imprisoned through the misuse of our mind. And this reality does not make us happy. It never has and it never will. So what is the point then? You see, it's idle or futile, because what's the point? You've gone, made a separate self and a whole reality, and it makes you miserable. What's the point of that? And this is what he's trying to teach us, that there is no point to making an illusory world in which you seem to suffer pain, loss, sickness, all kinds of suffering and dramas and disasters and calamities can befall you, and then you die. What's the point of it? Yes, you can do that if you really want to, and we have, but it's futile. There's no point in that, because it doesn't serve your happiness. It doesn't make you happy. It never has and it never will. And it's not real. So, you need to give up these wishes, idle, futile wishes, which have constructed this world, need to be let go of in order to free yourself from the endless futile cycle, the cycle of birth and death. You come again, you try again in another body, in another lifetime, and you get the same thing. We just experience the same. There's variation. Every life is slightly different. But if you look at it from a bigger picture, it's all the same, because the human story is very similar. You're born, you have to now learn. You know nothing. You come into this world, and you have to now learn how to cope in the world. You become conditioned to the world's thinking. You grow as a child. You then have to figure out all kinds of things. How are you gonna earn a living? Who you're going to live with, where you're going to live, how you're going to make enough money to support yourself. You go through this whole, story called life, and eventually you die. And that's the human story. And it happens over and over, repeatedly. And we have to zoom out of it and really look at it and go, well, is there any point to that? What is the point of the human existence? This is the fundamental question, isn't it? That philosophers, thinkers, spiritual teachers and so on have grappled with for thousands of years. What is the point of human existence? And Yeshua's saying, well, there is no point. It's a product of idle wishes, of a futile wish to be separate from your source. And so you've created a separate identity and a body and a world that supports that. But there's no point to it, because it doesn't make you happy. So then he continues on, number 2. Idle wishes and grievances. So related to grievances, we've just been through a number of lessons on grievances. So he's making a very important connection between the two in this particular paragraph. You want to read that? Doesn't really need much translation, so just the ego will become
alternative.
Read an alternative.
Right. Idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in picturing the world I perceive. The wishes of my separate self gave rise to it, and my separate self's need for grievances, which are necessary to maintain it, peoples it with figures that seem to attack me and call for righteous judgment. These figures become the middlemen my separate self employs to traffic in grievances. They stand between my true awareness and my companion's reality. Perceiving them, I do not know my companions or myself. So it's just saying that grievances and idle wishes, or picturing the world we perceive, they're co-makers, they work together.
So in Buddhist terms, these are what they call desires or craving, idle wishes. I'm craving, I'm desiring for something to be different from what it is currently. That's what all desire is, and the Buddha noticed that that's the source of all suffering. Why? Because when you have an expectation, then you're set up for a grievance. Because the expectation creates the desire, you want something to happen, it doesn't happen the way you want it, and then you have a grievance against reality or against someone who's apparently to blame for now, your disappointment. So they really, as he says, they're partners or co-makers. You can't have a grievance unless you have an expectation. You notice that?
Sorry, you can't.
You can't have a grievance without an expectation.
Yeah, no, that's true.
There had to be I expected it to be this way, and
Yeah,
now
yeah,
it's not
true.
meeting my expectation, and now I have a grievance again. Oh, it shouldn't be that way, and I resist it. And I go, oh, this is terrible, and I resist what is. But I must have had an expectation initially, otherwise the grievance wouldn't be possible. Yeah. So the Buddha noticed this. That's why he made it fundamental in his teaching. He said that there's suffering, and the source of that suffering is this is the expectations or the idle wishes, which then lead to suffering because you have grievances when your idle wishes or your expectations are not met. And Yeshua is just saying exactly the same thing in different language. In Buddha's teaching, it's called craving or tana, and dukkha is the suffering. And he calls grievances tana and avaita, I think, which is the aversion. So craving and aversion, or idle wishes and grievances, it doesn't really matter what language you use. We're talking about the same thing. And so you start to see that these teachings are absolutely, they dovetail. They're so similar. They're saying the same thing, which is why when people start going, oh well, it's Buddhism versus Christianity. I'm a Buddhist, or I'm a Course in Miracles person. No, I don't listen to that. It's ridiculous because it's the same. It's exactly the same teaching, just different language.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to see that all these great teachers, like the Buddha and Yeshua, they came to the same realization. They came to the same understanding, pretty much, and that's just been expressed in different times and in different cultures. So it comes down with a different flavor. Buddhism is a different flavor to Christianity because of the time and the way it developed and the environment it developed in. But at the highest level, they're saying the same thing. No difference.
Yeah.
All right. So carry on with your summary.
Just as I was saying, they're co-makers, both of them. The idle wishes and expectations and grievances are all go hand in glove, and they stand between our true awareness. And so we don't really know our companions in our true self in this behavior. This righteous judgment.
Yeah, like really, really well. This is a beautiful image. So he talks about trafficking and grievances, because we know that trafficking in this world is associated with the sort of lowest forms
Yes.
of
Like
human
children and
behavior. Yeah, trafficking in children, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, so on.
yeah.
So he uses that word intentionally to go, basically it's very, on a very low level,
It's the same.
trafficking in these grievances. And you use the world and people to then justify your grievances. Oh, this person did this or didn't do this. Now I have a justification for my grievance. And my entire reality is populated by these idle wishes and these grievances. And I use the world for that purpose. And this stands between these middlemen, the traffic in grievances, stand between my true awareness and my companion's reality. So if you see someone in the light of the ego, when the darkness of the ego, then that blocks your true awareness of them and therefore of yourself. It blocks the awareness of the light in your mind and in their mind. And so I do not know my companions or myself when I do that. So we lost, we lost in this world of grievances, idle wishes and grievances, trafficking these grievances, trying to somehow make this insane system work. We look at this. The ego's world, the idea of guilt and sin at its foundation, that you've really destroyed love. And then you have to project your guilt out. And whenever you have a grievance, that's what you're doing. Yeah. So idle wish is, if you boil it down to first principles, the idle wish of the ego was the wish to be a separate self, the wish to have its own identity. So that's the one component of it. And then that wishes and desires for things. And then the grievances happen because of the guilt, because of what you think you've done. And now you can't handle that guilt. So you must project it out. And that means that you're going to accuse, blame, and attack someone or something to offload your guilt onto them. And so if you keep playing this game of desiring to be a separate self and then maintaining that by projecting your guilt outwards through grievances, you just carry on and on and on. You'll just go around and around in this insane thought system. And there's no hope. There's no hope. There's no happiness. There's no love. The best you can hope for is death. The ego's version of salvation is death. It says, well, one day you'll die and it will all be over. And if it believes fully in that concept, that your consciousness just gets extinguished. In death, you cease to exist. It's game over, and there's the end of your suffering. And of course, that's not true, because the mind continues. As long as this stuff is going on in your mind, you have what's called karma. You have false causation, you have false thoughts, and a whole false belief system, which has to either extend or project out. So if you have this when you lay the body aside, you must come back and you have to play this out again and again and again. And you just keep doing that. Cycle of birth and death is endless until you willingly relinquish it. Today's lesson is saying, well, I will there be light. In other words, I will that there be pure formless awareness of perfect love in my mind. I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to interpret everything differently, as the Holy Spirit does, to experience this light. And then let that light extend into the world. So I become the light of the world. These are subsequent lessons that are coming. I am the light of the world, because I now extend this awareness in and through my thoughts, my words, and my actions into the world. And I become a demonstration of this awareness in the world. And while we're seemingly in this world of illusion, that's our only function, is to be that light in the world, so that other people, ourselves and other people, can see the light, and they can go to the light through our example. And that's the highest calling of any human life, is to do that. Okay. So let's go back to the lesson. Happy with number 2.
Yep. Yeah. But both are just the alternative.
Yeah, read it in the alternative from number 2 onwards.
Right. So
In fact, just read the whole thing. Read the whole thing in the alternative. Yeah. It's a bit to translate.
Your will is lost to you in this strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth, and grievances increase with each exchange. My true awareness is lost to me in this strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth, and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been created by the will the Son of God shares with his Father? Did pure formless awareness of perfect love create disaster? Hold on, where have I jumped the gun there? Can such a world have been extended by the awareness the extension of perfect love shares with its source? Did God create disaster for his Son? And did pure formless awareness of perfect love create disaster for its extension? Creation is the will of both together. Extension is the awareness of both joined together.
We'll
Would
change that
God
to being, actually.
being?
Being. So we translate creation sometimes as extension when it's talking about the creation of God extending out, but here he's talking about this fundamental being of the will of both together. So when Father and Son are one awareness, that's the state of perfect being or creation. Okay, and then just number 5.
And would God create a world that kills himself? Would pure formless awareness of perfect love extend a world that kills itself? And from the top, my true awareness is lost to me in this strange bartering in which guilt is traded back and forth and grievances increase with each exchange. Can such a world have been extended by the awareness the extension of perfect love shares with its source? Did pure formless awareness of perfect love create disaster for its extension? Being is the awareness of both joined together. Would a pure formless awareness of perfect love create a world that kills itself?
So yeah, he's asking a lot of questions there, isn't he? Some really good questions.
Well,
Can
there's a lot.
such a world have been created by the awareness of perfect love? How could loving awareness create such a world as this? It's clearly a contradiction. People say God is love, and then they say God created the world. Well, there's a massive contradiction.
Mm,
How could any loving God, loving awareness, create a world like this where there's so much that is not love?
mm,
So you have to decide either that God is not love. If you say God created the world, then God is not love. Yeah? God is dualistic. God is a psychopath. Or you have to say, no, God is love, and therefore God didn't create the world. In fact, the world has nothing to do with God. The world, therefore, must be illusory.
mm,
This creation is then a miscreation, and it's not real. And that's the only way to resolve that dilemma, isn't it?
mm, mm,
You got two options there. If you want to make God create the world, and then you have to say God isn't love, which then denies the truth. Or you have to say, no, actually, God created the world is false, and it's false because only love is true and real, and there's another reality that's beyond this one. And so we're taking that second approach. But most religions run into this, and they haven't resolved it. God is love, but then God created the world. And that's core to most of the monotheistic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. God is
mm,
love, but God created the world. Well, okay. So you've got a fundamental contradiction that doesn't make sense. And then the only way they resolve that is say, well, God works in mysterious ways. You've got to have faith. Don't question it. But we
mm,
must question. We must start asking these questions. Well, does that actually make any sense? If you look at it logically, that God could be love and God could also create the world. No, it doesn't make any sense. Could a loving God have created this disaster, created a world that kills itself, its own extension, where its extensions must die? Could that be real? And so with this logic, we can get out of the ego system and go, okay, that actually doesn't make any sense. There's actually no good reason for this world to exist. It's all just a delusion. So, I can get out of that delusion by changing my mind. which is what this course is all about. He's got to get us to see the delusion. He's got to get us to see that this is just false, that it doesn't work, that the logic is faulty, to accept this, which is why he goes on and on and on. And this is not the first time that we've discussed this in these lessons, but it's because our belief in the ego is so deep-seated and entrenched that he knows he's going to need to repeat it, and he's going to need to come at it from different angles throughout the course to get us to finally accept this simple truth. Okay, happy with number 3?
Yes.
So today we'll try once more. Read that in the original and alternative again.
Yeah. In the alternative, yeah. Today, I will try once.
Yeah,
Sorry?
if you can do both. If you can do both.
Both. Yep. Today, we will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with your will. Today, I will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with my awareness. The light is in it because it does not oppose the will of God. Pure formless awareness is in it because it does not oppose the pure formless awareness of perfect love. It is not heaven, but the light of heaven shines on it. It is not the ultimate state of pure formless awareness, but the pure formless awareness of this ultimate state shines on it. Darkness has vanished. Limited awareness has vanished. The ego's idle wishes have been withdrawn. The belief in separation's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the light that shines upon the world reflects your will, and so it must be in you that will look for it. Yet the pure formless awareness that shines upon this world reflects my awareness, and so it must be in me that I will look for it. From the top. Today, I will try once more to reach the world that is in accordance with my awareness. Pure formless awareness is in it because it does not oppose the pure formless awareness of perfect love. It is not the ultimate state of pure formless awareness, but the pure formless awareness of this ultimate state is present in it. Limited awareness has vanished. The belief in separation's idle wishes have been withdrawn. Yet the pure formless awareness that is present in this world reflects my true awareness, and so it must be in me that I will look for it. So it's just asking us today to reach this world in accordance with this awareness, the pure formless awareness. It's saying it's not the ultimate state, but the pure formless awareness of this ultimate state is present in it. And this limited darkness vanishes. So we're letting go of the separate self's futile wishes. So
just did that.
Yeah. And so the pure formless awareness that's present in the world will reflect our true awareness.
Yeah. And so this is the kind of halfway mezzanine state. I've talked about this before, but let's look at it in this diagram. And this is the Holy Trinity diagram. And this is what he's training us to do. He's saying, look, I can't teach you the meaning of love. This level 1 being pure formless awareness of perfect love. That will come when you're ready. And the course is not aimed at teaching that. He frames it in the introduction and the scope very well. Can't teach you the meaning of love, but I can teach you to let go of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. So the teaching happens here on this level between our separate self and everything that's created, and we completely identified with that. And now he's asking us to let go of these futile wishes for experience in the world, which is what the ego wants. And in that process of letting go of the futile wishes and the grievances, we start coming into our true self. We start becoming aware that there is a presence, this light, this awareness, pure formless awareness in us that can help us to perceive everything correctly, that can help guide our perceptions and therefore our words and our actions. And so this is the light. It's not the ultimate light, not pure formless awareness of perfect love in its ultimate state, which is heaven, but it's a reflection of it. It's some aspect of that light is in us. And obviously, the stronger that light gets, the more we're rooted in our true self or the Christ self, the more our perceptions are corrected, the more that light is shining in us and then in us, in and through us into the world. And so that's why it's called A Course in Miracles, because that light coming into your awareness, changing your perceptions, and then changing your thoughts, words, decisions, and actions is what the Course is designed to teach us. So if we look at lesson 363 again, let's find no, sorry. Just opens up. Okay. So we've looked at the final lessons before, but we'll do it one more time. Remember, this is where he leaves us, all right? He leaves us in the hands of God. The final outcome of the course, just read that again, is to be in this state. And when he's describing here, it's really the flow state.
You mean this? Yeah. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. I am wholly aware now and every moment. I allow my true self to be in charge, and I follow only its guidance, knowing that it brings me peace.
Yeah, so that's what this means. I'm in the present, I'm following its guidance. Exactly what we've talked about today, being in the flow, one thing at a time, being clean, clear, peaceful, and then downloading, asking for the Spirit to come in and help us. It will help us to have the words. So then, read the little commentary paragraph.
Yeah, and the alternative.
Yeah.
The remembrance of perfect love will give me the words I need to help me. It will also give me a thought whenever I need one. And if I need only stillness and a tranquil, open mind, these are the gifts I will receive from it. It is in charge by my request, and it will hear and answer me because it speaks for pure formless awareness of perfect love, my source, and its innocent extension.
So this is the final outcome of the course. It's to train us to stay in the state, to be in the flow of life, and this state is the best we can possibly do. This is the highest way of functioning in this world. And from this expanded state will come eventually the remembrance of through the remembrance of perfect love will come love itself. So the ultimate state of where are we? So in the right one, the ultimate state of pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is heaven, will come when we're ready. So if we can focus on on achieving this and staying in that state, he's saying that is the outcome of the course. Now that's achievable. That's doable, that's achievable in this life. It will require, as he says, takes great effort and willingness to do that, but it is possible. And that will prepare you for ultimately going into this state. He says God takes the final step. That's what he says about this. God takes the final step when you're ready, but your job is to get yourself ready. So fully identified with your true self or Christ because of all this practice, that pure formless awareness of perfect love is just a kind of a natural next step, merging in to that awareness. God takes the final step, means that the ego just finally drops away. You just merge back into it. You lay the body aside and you're done. But the teaching is to live in this enlightened state, which is why this is the final lesson that he repeats 5 times. And to do that, we must let go of the separate self's futile wishes and its grievances. There's no way you can have this flowing state, be in this loving awareness with futile wishes and grievances going on in your mind. Those sabotage that, they cover over that light. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to number 5 then.
Is that the alternative or both?
Not much. So the just read forgiveness will and the darkness will be translated. So just read number 4.
Both, yeah. So the other's just in the alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My picture of the world can only mirror what is within. The source of neither pure formless awareness nor limited awareness can be found outside me.
And those are light. So light is pure formless awareness. Darkness is limited awareness in our translation.
Mm-hmm. Grievances limit my mind, and I look out on a limited world. And then forgiveness. Oh, excuse me. Forgiveness lifts the darkness, reasserts your will, and lets you look upon a world of light. Letting go lifts the veil of limited awareness, reasserts my true awareness, and lets me perceive a world infused by pure formless awareness. We have repeatedly emphasized that the barrier of grievances is easily transcended and cannot stand between me and my freedom. The reason is very simple. Do I really want to be a victim? Do I really want to weep, suffer, and die?
Let's just change this. I can easily transcend the barrier of my grievances. So rather than in the passive, it's active. My grievances, which cannot stand between me and my freedom. The reason is very simple. I really want to be a victim. I really want to weep, suffer, and die. Again, simple questions, key questions. Do I really want to suffer? Do I really want to be a victim of the world? and weep and suffer and die. And it says, you know, there's a point at which illusions can't go beyond. You look at all the pain and suffering of the human existence. Do you really want that?
Yeah.
Like in your right mind, if you know you could have love, peace, and joy eternally, why would you choose that? Who in their right mind would choose to weep, suffer, and die? You look at the average human life. Let's go back to the timeline of consciousness. Blow that up a bit. So there's a hypothetical human life, various traumas, might be a death of a parent, sometimes major rejection, special love, start of a marriage, to a surrogate parent, a major adult trauma, divorce, loss of a job, maybe some health challenges, maybe there's some success in it, sell your business, but then you retire, so then you're wondering what your life is all about, maybe a final illness like cancer or dementia, and then death. And that could be an average human life. There's various people in the community who've experienced some of these things in their life. So, you know, just a hypothetical example. If you just look at your own life and the various things you've gone through, if you honestly looked at that from the beginning, you said, okay, well, if I knew what my life was going to be overall before I came here,
Yeah.
you know, would you have chosen to come to experience all that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a big question. Yeah, exactly.
No. Would you
Yeah,
really?
exactly. A lot of it, no, I wouldn't actually.
No.
A
Why
lot
would
of
you
it.
choose that?
Yeah,
And the problem
you're
is
right.
you can't sort of say, well, you know, if it was only better, I like certain aspects, but you got to take the whole thing. You know, it's a very dualistic
Yeah.
game. Like you got to
There's
take
both.
it, you know, as it is. Okay, so you know the life that I've had with all of the difficulties, challenges, pain,
Yeah.
suffering, sickness, death involved. In the end, yes, there was some good stuff
Yeah.
interspersed in there. There was some happy times, there was some pleasure, and so on. But overall, you know, taking that mixed bag, if I was looking
Mm.
at that, someone said, right, Elaine, here's your life. I'll show you a little,
Little
you know,
snapshot.
20-minute summary of the key moments up front. Do you want that or not?
Mm.
You know, would you choose? Would you have chosen it? And what Yeshua is saying is, if you're honest, you
You,
wouldn't.
no, you're probably right. Yes.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
Why would you choose that? When you can have, remember the alternative
Oh, well,
to
yeah, the
that
alternative, no
is
brainer.
pure formless awareness of perfect love, right?
Yeah.
An awareness that is pristine, that is pure. There's no sin, there's no guilt, there's no fear, there's no attack, there's no suffering, there's no pain
Well, yeah.
ever. This is eternal peace, joy, and bliss forever. That's the alternative. Well, by comparison, if that's
Yes.
the other alternative, the option, why
Mm.
would you choose to go
All
through
that.
all of the
Yeah.
slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, as Shakespeare put it, so poetically,
Yeah.
when you could just have, you know, pure formless awareness of perfect love? And you know, he framed that in another play in Hamlet. You know, the famous "to be or not to be,"
Mm.
to be or not to be. You know, to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. It's in the same passage from Hamlet. To take up arms against the world, or to let it all go, basically, is what Shakespeare's saying in that
Mm.
passage. You know, do you want to exist as a human being or not? To be or not to be? That is the question. And you know, Yeshua's asking us here again. Well, really, do you really want to be a victim of the world? Do you really want to weep, suffer, and die, which is the human story?
Mm. Yeah, it's true.
And
Hmm.
you know, if you're very honest with yourself, you'll go, well, no, that doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
Why would
no.
I choose that?
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
did this to me. You know, people say, well, God put me here for a reason. Well, no, actually, God didn't put you here at all, because God
Mm.
is your true awareness, pure formless awareness, has nothing to do with any of this. This is a departure from it. What put you here was denying that awareness. That's what put you here. The ego, in other words, put you here. But do you really want to listen to that voice? It causes you to be a victim, to weep, suffer, and die. And he's asking us to change our mind fundamentally.
Yeah.
No, I don't want this whole story of human life, this whole, like, once I understand how the ego works, who in their right mind would choose this?
True.
The idea of separation and individual self, but then underlying it as guilt, because you think you've destroyed your true awareness or love. So now you feel this terrible guilt for this imaginary sin. And now you must believe that you're going to be punished. So you have a false expectation of punishment appearing real. You can't handle all of that. So you have to project it out into a world where all of this then plays out, and you can project your guilt onto someone else and blame them to try and offload your guilt. But that doesn't really work. That just perpetuates the guilt and the fear. And so you live in a state of guilt, fear, and trying to get rid of that by continuously attacking other people. And that's, so you live in a world of accusation, blame, and attack, which then seems to make you a victim of the world, where limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, and inevitably death, seems to be your fate. Is this really what you want? This was saying, really? If you look at the system honestly,
I know.
it's a nightmare. Honestly looked at, you go, it's a complete nightmare.
It is.
Who in their right mind would choose that? Well, the answer is no one in their right mind would choose that. You only chose it in your wrong mind. So he's asking us now to choose again, go into our right mind and say, no, I don't want this. No part of it, no aspect of it. So while I'm seemingly playing this out, I have to remember the truth, that I don't want this, that only the light is real, and I have to let go of it. Instead of judging all this stuff as real, I just need to let it go and recognize its unreality. And that's exactly what this whole course is about, helping us to do. Okay. Anything else on number 5?
No, that's good. That's well explained.
Okay, so then he continues on in the same vein. You get the ego. Just read the first one in the original and the alternative, and then the rest in the alternative.
Forget the ego's arguments, which seek to prove all that is really heaven. I should forget my separate self's arguments, which seek to prove all that is really the state of pure formless awareness. I know it is not so. I cannot want this for myself. This is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness, and it is happiness I really want. Such is my awareness in truth. And so freedom is my true awareness as well. I want to succeed in what I am trying to do today. I undertake it with my blessing and glad agreement. So, what's it saying? So we've got to forget our separate selves arguments. So we've got to know that this is not what we want. And this is a point beyond which illusions cannot go. Suffering is not happiness. And really what we really want is happiness. So this is such as my awareness in truth, which is our true happiness. And today we want to actually succeed and undertake it with our blessing and glad agreement to finally move away from this separate selves arguments and false illusions.
And so what he's offering us is a state in eternity where there is no suffering. Right? Saying, I can help you remove pain and suffering in all respects. It simply won't exist. Or you could choose to have this world where suffering is inevitable. No matter how hard you try, if you're in this world, there's going to be times that you're going to suffer.
Mm.
And I think we have to see that very honestly. You know, it says no human being has ever experienced a life that's free of all suffering. It just doesn't, you know, that, and this is what the
Doesn't
Buddha said.
exist. Mm.
No, life is suffering, right?
Yeah.
Fundamental nature of life. Suffering, dukkha, he called it. There's suffering. And then he said, well, okay, well, what's the cause of suffering? Cause of suffering is your expectations, your craving, and then your grievances or your aversion, as he called it. That's the cause of your suffering. It's in your mind. So there is a way out of suffering because you can let go of the craving and the aversion, or the idle wishes, as Yeshua calls them, and the grievances. You can let that go and you can find the underlying happiness and freedom that's there if you so choose. But it is going to require some effort, willingness, work, spiritual practice, which is what he's saying. Forgiveness is necessary. Forgiveness is the way out of it. Or letting go is the way out of this really what is a disaster. Got yourself into a thought system that really makes no sense and causes endless pain and suffering and sickness and misery and death. And now your job becomes, well, how do I get out of that? How do I unwind that or undo that?
Mm.
And he's giving us the way. He's saying you can't vacillate. You know, this is one or the other. You're either wanting to escape and let go of the entire dream, or you're going to remain here and you're going to have to accept the ego's offerings, which will inevitably entail suffering. Pain, suffering, sickness, and death are inevitable. And he's saying, you know, you can succeed. I want to succeed. And these are affirmations. We're saying, I want, so if we say in the first person, I want to succeed. Say that, the number 8 and 9 again, if you read those.
I want to succeed in what I am trying to do today. I undertake it with my blessing and glad agreement.
So these are affirmations. It's giving us affirmations to say, just to help us to change our mind. Right? I'm in agreement with this. Yes, I want what Yeshua is asking me to do. I'm on board. I'm willing. And he has to explain the logic. The reason why we have the lessons is he has to really be explicit in the logic of this. Otherwise, we won't really want it. He has to get us to really see the ego and therefore to make the correct choice. If we don't really see what the ego is and what it does and how it works, we won't choose against it, will we? Because we'll still think it offers us something. So a huge part of this mind training is to really see, to reveal in truth what the ego is and what it does and how it works to us through these lessons and through the text, so that we very clearly see it. And then he's saying, well, once you see that clearly, your decision will be obvious. No one in their right mind seeing that would choose it, because you'd understand then that you're just choosing your own pain, suffering, and ultimately death. Okay, so let's move on to number 7. We will succeed today.
Yeah, in the alternative.
Just read the first couple in the original and the alternative. It's a bit to translate there.
We will succeed today if you remember that you want salvation for yourself. I will succeed today if I remember that I want freedom for myself. You want to accept God's plan because you share in it. I want to accept perfect love's plan because I share in it. I have no awareness that can really oppose it, and I do not want to do so. Awakening and freedom are for me. Above all else, I want the freedom to remember who I really am. Today, it is the belief in separation that stands powerless before my pure formless awareness. My awareness is free and nothing can prevail against it. It's just saying that today will succeed if we remember that we want the freedom from our true self. And we want to accept the perfect love's plan because we actually share in it. So we decide that awakening and freedom are for us. And above all else, that's all we want, the freedom and to remember who we really are. Yeah. And our awareness is free and nothing can prevail against it. So, yeah. It's our choice.
Yeah. So he's telling us very clearly. And if we state it in the first person, that's why we're doing these translations. It becomes an affirmation of this. My true awareness is free and nothing can prevail against it. You say that, something stirs in you, doesn't it? It's like, I'm coming into my true awareness, then you're directly calling upon it when you say those words to come into your awareness. So as the belief in separation, and my separate self, it stands powerless before my pure formless awareness. My true awareness is free and nothing can prevail against it. And you can just feel that power for a few moments. Close your eyes. Say, my true awareness is free and nothing can prevail against it. Okay, so read number 8. That'll prepare us nicely for the practice, the meditation.
Yeah. Therefore, am I going into just the alternative?
Yeah, that's okay. So the will we translate as pure formless awareness. Okay?
Right.
So will is
Pure formless
is your will
awareness.
to find what it is,
Yeah.
what it is in my pure formless awareness to find.
Okay. Therefore, I undertake the exercises for today in happy confidence, certain that I will find what it is in my pure formless awareness to find. And remember what it is in my pure formless awareness to remember. No false wishes can delay me, nor deceive me with an illusion of strength. Today, let my pure formless awareness be established and end forever the insane belief that I choose victimhood and suffering in place of the state of pure formless awareness.
It's asking us to make these choices. You see how the mind training works. You do a lesson like this, you make this choice, you're undoing the ego. The ego might come back and you have these kinds of thoughts again. But the fact that you've done the lesson, you've made this choice, is a crack in its system. It means that you can choose again and you can choose again. You can make the same choice over and over. So somebody like, yeah, but I do this, and then the ego comes back. But if you never do this and you never question it, then there's no hope. You just stay in it.
Yeah, you're stuck.
The process of starting to break free of it. and it comes back, but you remember, look, I can always, the more I do these lessons, the more I realize I can always make another choice.
Yeah.
The ego comes back, but I can choose again, and I can use my lesson of the day to help me make that choice to go into my true awareness.
Yeah.
And so I get very used to confronting the ego. It comes up, and then I make another choice. And that process is the process of correction or miracles that he's training us to do. So it's not like you're failing when the ego comes up. You only fail if you don't correct it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because obviously
To
it
come
always
up, but
comes up.
then
Yeah.
when it comes up, you correct it. Okay, well, I'll just correct it as soon as possible. Then I haven't failed. Then I'm actually succeeding. I'm practicing this course. I'm doing exactly what it's asking me to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So bear that in mind. You know, he's not asking us for an impossible standard. He's not expecting us to be enlightened already.
Yeah,
He's saying, no, I know the ego is going to come up, but when it does, here's how you're going to deal with it. Practice these lessons to help you let it go, and then you're practicing the course and you're succeeding, you're not failing. And if it takes you a day or two, then okay, so be it. But if you can do it in minutes, then even better. Because why do you want to say minutes or seconds? Yeah, why do you want to suffer unnecessarily? You know, if your formless awareness is always there, why do you want to disconnect yourself from that for any length of time at all? You know, rather just collapse it, let go, you know, quickly and easily. Obviously, when we start out, we're not very good at it. So we tend to get stuck in the ego, and maybe that takes hours or days, even weeks to get out. But as you practice, you get better at it.
You get used to it. It can be minutes.
Yeah, you can start going, okay, I can actually let it go much quicker. I can do it in a matter of an hour or two if there's something come up. And then maybe as I keep practicing, I can do it in minutes and maybe even in seconds. And I think enlightened beings are not like, oh, the ego never comes up. In fact, a guy called Ramakrishna was very enlightened, was asked by students, you know, well, you know, do you have ego? He said, yes. And they were like shocked. They thought, no, you know, he's so enlightened, doesn't have ego. He says, no, these thoughts come in. The difference between me and you, he said, is that I let them go very quickly. You know, they don't last more than a few seconds. Whereas someone with, you know, a less aware mind might dwell on those thoughts for minutes or hours or even days or weeks. And you know, some people just get stuck into them for years. And then it becomes a condition like depression. So this is like, just get better and better at it. Keep training your mind. That's the purpose of your life. That's what you're going to do. And you've got the rest of your life to practice. Okay? So there's no massive urgency. You don't need to get this all tomorrow. If you did, fantastic. But, you know, just go at whatever pace you can go. Yeah. Just keep practicing. And if you keep practicing anything, you'll get better at it. That's how, you know, that's how life works. We all understand that. If you want to learn a new skill, let's say you wanted to learn cooking or something, well, you're only going to learn that by practicing. Okay, we'll practice cooking, and you know, your first dish might not be so great, but once you've done that 10 times, it's probably quite good because you practiced it. Same, you know, the same idea. So this is why it's a practice. Spiritual practice is practicing over and over this process of letting go, so that you get very good at it and you can apply it in all situations without exception. And that's what this mind training is helping you to do. And that then is making the choice to undo the ego's thought system moment by moment. No false wishes can delay me. And each lesson you practice, you know, it's the same lesson, isn't it? The course is the same lesson every day, just stated differently. It's a lesson in letting go of the ego. So same lesson, just gives you a different perspective, a different angle, a different idea, because he knows if it was exactly the same lesson, you'd get bored and you wouldn't do it. But it is actually in truth the same lesson every day. Just, you know, really framed well. The way he's done it is that there's a different angle and a different perspective. So it keeps us engaged. Okay, so I'm leading, and, you know, there's a new aspect that he brings up in every lesson. Slightly different angle, a different way to look at it. a really phenomenal course. I mean, imagine writing something like this. You're like, wow, how do you
Mm.
come up with the same lesson 365 times, but you've got to
Mm.
frame it in different ways?
I know.
It's really a
Yeah.
work of,
Incredible.
master teacher. Yeah. Operating on a level beyond human, clearly,
Mm. Mm.
to
Mm.
do this. And although the course repeats itself, it's because it is the same lesson. It does it in a way that keeps us engaged. That's the genius of it. Oh,
Mm.
okay. So
Mm.
actually, there's something different here. There's something new for me to learn. There's a different aspect. And even if we've done the workbook before, you read it again. We did this a year ago, and yet, there's something
Mhm.
to learn, something fresh.
Mhm.
I've done it 18 times, I think, this year. What are we, 24? Yeah, this is, I think, my 18th year of doing the workbook. And
Mm.
yet,
Mm.
like, I'm
Still
still
fresh.
learning. Yeah, it's still like I'm not bored of it. Although I've done
Mm.
this lesson 18 times, maybe more before, because it's a lesson that takes you deeper into your own mind,
Mm.
which is ever present, which is, the perennial philosophy is idea that there's this ever present awareness, which is an internal source of love, peace, and joy. So you can never get tired of that. And when you access that awareness, there's no boredom, there's no, oh, well, it's just the same old, same old. No, it's like, yeah, I can go into the state and it's ever fresh. That's why it's called perennial philosophy. And so somehow it's created a course that mirrors that and that is ever fresh. Like you can read these lessons again and again and do them again and again. And every time you do it, it will bring you something valuable. Okay, so this brings us to the practice. Any comments, questions on the lesson? It's, as usual, a good one, a powerful one. So should we
Mhm.
go into a meditation
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be good.
on this? Okay, so just making yourself comfortable. Your favorite meditation posture. Your feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Put your hands in your lap, close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So you're breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. And the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And you pause at the top of the inhale. And remind yourself that perfect love's plan for awakening, God's plan or perfect love's plan for salvation or awakening, and only its, is wholly in accord with your will, with your pure formless awareness. It's not the purpose of an alien power that's thrust upon you unwillingly. It's the one purpose which you and your source are in perfect agreement. So breathe in the source, you're allowing it into your mind. Say to yourself, I will succeed today, the time appointed for the release of the extension of perfect love, Son of God with extension of perfect love from hell, which is victimhood and all idle wishes, futile wishes. Say, my will or true awareness is now restored to my awareness. I'm willing today to find pure formless awareness of mind and be awakened. So breathe in this awareness. Let it be restored to your awareness right now, not any time in the future, but right now. So I'm willing today to find this awareness, to look upon the light in me and be saved, says Yeshua. That means to find the pure formless awareness in my mind. Maybe we'll make that experience, actually, to experience the pure formless awareness in my mind and be saved, i.e. be awakened. In this awareness, I am awake, free of the dream. This leads nicely into today's text reading, which I'll do after this. So now remind yourself, having reminded yourself of this, and being determined to keep your light or pure formless awareness clearly in mind, tell yourself with gentle firmness and quiet certainty as you breathe in again, I choose to be in and extend the state of pure formless awareness. The original is, I will there be light. What does that mean? I choose to be in and extend the state of pure formless awareness. Let me behold the light that reflects God's will in mine. Let me experience the pure formless awareness that reflects perfect love's awareness and mine. So you're inviting this awareness in, breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light. And I let my awareness assert itself, join with the power of perfect love, united with my true self. Put the rest of the practice period under their guidance, power of perfect love and my true self. And I join with them as they lead the way. So exhale, letting go of any resistance to this, any idle wishes, futile wishes of the ego, any grievances, just blow them all away. The breeze of your breath. Just going, gone. All the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just join with this awareness, sense of being one with this awareness, the light in you. You can visualize light if that helps you. If you don't visualize very well, it's just a feeling. Awareness is really just a feeling. So feel the light or true awareness in you. You can breathe in to help you. You can imagine you're infusing this awareness as light into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. Is in the light. nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just be in the light of this true awareness. Let it infuse every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light. Surrender to that light. So will there be light? I choose to be in and extend the state of pure formless and awareness. Feel it in you as you breathe in, and then as you exhale, feel it extending out and through you. So awareness extends out and through you to others. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still. Surrender into the light. From your true awareness. Any thoughts come up, any idle wishes, futile wishes of the ego, desires in the world, grievances, means an expectation that you had is violated, and then you feel an aversion reaction, you feel resistance to that. Just notice all that, breathe into it, nice deep breath in, and just breathe in this true awareness. So I choose to be in and to extend state of pure formless awareness. This is what it means to will there be light. And will there be light? I choose to be in this state of awareness, which means I must let go of these idle wishes and grievances. To experience pure formless awareness that reflects perfect love's awareness and your own. So blow the grievance out. Imagine you letting it go like a dark cloud or black smoke, the breeze of your breath, exhaling and releasing it. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you rest. And still calm. Peaceful state. State of mind without illusions. State of mind showing the truth is true. And rest in this state of pure formless awareness, the light. So you can visualize that you're in the light, just free floating in the light, and that helps you just resting in a clean, clear state of awareness with no wishes, no expectations, and no grievances. This is what it means to be in the light. State of pure formless awareness. Don't give form to anything. Just be in this awareness. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, nothing else to think about at all for the next couple of minutes. Breathe, relax, and be still and surrender into the light of your true state of awareness, pure formless awareness. The next 2 minutes of deep silence. So just gently coming back on this deep awareness bring some awareness into the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And you pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind for any idle wishes, any futile wishes of the ego, things in form. Scan your mind for grievances, things that you don't like, you want to avoid, anything that you're irritated about, angry about, upset about is a grievance. Breathe into all that and remind yourself that I choose to be in and extend a state of pure formless awareness. This limited awareness is not my awareness. So let me experience the pure formless awareness that reflects perfect love's awareness and mine. Not sometime in the future, but right now. So exhale, blow out the darkness or limited awareness. You can imagine it's like a dark cloud or black smoke, leaving you with the breeze of your breath being blown away to the nothingness that it really is. Exhale it, blowing it out, blowing it away. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest in this still, calm, peaceful state. On the exhale, notice the peace in the gap between breaths. Anchor that state in. And breathe in on the count of 2. Notice the air flowing into the nostrils again, the chest and the stomach rising. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling, touching. Your hands, maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Breathe that air in, notice what you're smelling as you do that, tasting perhaps, touching, feeling what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of mind without illusions. State of mind in which only the truth is true. You anchor the state in, the light into your awareness. Set the intention to stay here for the rest of the session, the afternoon, or into the evening. So it is said, and so it is done. On the count of 3 now, you're going to open your eyes. So just take a moment to look around the room, noticing various objects in the room. Around you, focus on one, but without any judgments. You're not naming it in your mind, judging it as anything separate, labeling it. Just observe it and notice that this awareness that hopefully you experience quite deeply over the last 20 odd minutes is still very much there in your awareness. Connect with that deeper awareness, feel it, connect with it. Look at another object, anything randomly. Notice that same awareness is there. The same underlying peaceful awareness is there. Whatever objects you look at, so look at half a dozen things just for a couple of seconds at a time. Your eyes randomly scan the room and you notice this awareness is always there. It's ever present. So you're training your mind to accept the light that is this awareness, that it's always there. You can never lose it because it's your fundamental awareness. That's the light this lesson talks about. Close your eyes briefly, notice that awareness still very much there. When you close your eyes and you open your eyes, notice this awareness. And so you learn that the awareness is not dependent on anything external. It's not dependent on your sense perceptions. It's there whether you're perceiving externally or not. Even when you're perceiving externally, it's still there. It's just in the background rather than the foreground. So our job really is to bring the background into the foreground. So this awareness becomes primary and your sense perceptions become secondary. And everything is really infused with this awareness. All of your sense perceptions are guidance awareness, as is your thoughts, your words, your actions. Is to be in the light. I will there be light means that I will that I be in this awareness and that I extend it, this state of awareness, into the world through my words and actions. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meditation and the practice of the lesson and the first part of the session. So it's Elaine,
Yeah.
are you good? Do you need a quick break or do you want to go into the text?
We can go into the text, or if you need a break.
Give me a minute. I'm just going to get a tea top up.
Yeah.
And then I'll.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, let's have a look at the introduction. There's 7 paragraphs, including the introduction. So new chapter, 10, called The Idols of Sickness, or as we translate, idols, the false beliefs in sickness. So this is the intro, just a paragraph.
And we try and get it done in an hour because I'm making a dish for my father and he has to pop out.
Yeah, I think we can get 7 paragraphs done.
Good. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. So if you read not much to try there, God's laws will become perfect love's laws. Otherwise, read in the alternative.
Right. Nothing beyond myself can make me fearful or loving because nothing is beyond me. Time and eternity are currently both in my awareness and will conflict until I perceive time solely as a means to regain eternity. I cannot do this as long as I believe that anything happening to me is caused by factors outside myself. I must learn that time is solely at my disposal and that nothing in the world can take this responsibility from me. I can violate perfect love's laws in my imagination, but I cannot escape from them. They were established for my protection and are as changeless as my eternal safety. So it's just saying that nothing beyond this self can make us fearful. So both
Yeah.
the time, they're both in our the time and eternity are in our awareness. So we cannot do this as long as I believe that anything happening to me is caused by factors outside myself. Yeah, so it's just letting us know that the illusion of the outside is our choice to choose, at
Yeah.
our disposal to see that nothing in the world the world can take this responsibility from us. It's all just our imagination, and we can choose perfect love's law, and we can't escape from them. So they were established for my protection and are as changeless as my eternal safety. We just got to keep reminding ourselves.
Yeah, that these laws are always there, and we can always return to them. So we have time and eternity both in our awareness, and this world is our chance to choose again. We need to reinterpret this world as the chance to choose eternity while we're seemingly in time. Time is solely at my disposal, and that nothing in the world can take this responsibility from me. So whatever seems to be happening in time, it's my responsibility to use time wisely. How am I going to use my time here? How am I going to perceive the world? And that's your responsibility. No matter what's happening in the world and seemingly happening to you, your responsibility is to perceive the world correctly and choose. That means choosing eternity over time. That means you choose pure formless awareness of the light over the darkness or limited awareness of the world. And you do that systematically, progressively, day by day, moment by moment. And that's what it means to live in a forgiving way, or in the art of letting go, through and in the art of letting go. Okay, happy with that one.
Yeah.
Number 2.
The alternative or both?
God created, so God will become pure formless awareness of perfect love. And him will become it. Yeah. So nothing much, just you can do it in the alternative to speed things up if you want.
Mm-hmm. Pure formless awareness of perfect love extends nothing beside me, and nothing beside me exists as I am part of it. What except it can exist? Nothing beyond it can happen, because nothing except it is real. My extensions add to it as I do, but nothing is added that is different, because everything has always been the same. What can upset me except the ephemeral? And how can the ephemeral be real if I am perfect love's only extension and extends me eternally? My pure formless awareness establishes everything that happens to me. Every response I make to everything I perceive is up to me, because my awareness determines my perception of it. It's just saying that this pure formless awareness extends nothing beside me, because what's beside me, it doesn't exist, because I'm part of it all. So to say nothing beyond it can, this pure formless awareness is real. Yeah. So it's just saying what can upset us is the ephemeral. And how can the ephemeral be real if we're perfect love?
Yeah. Well, what is ephemeral means it's temporary. It's temporary, impermanent. So if it's impermanent and it's so quickly fading, the idea of this too shall pass, then how can it really upset you?
Yeah.
Correctly perceived, it shouldn't. It's very temporary. Think about anything that you're facing currently in your life. In 50 years, when you're dead and gone, is any of it going to matter?
No.
No, not at all. So it's very ephemeral, very temporary. So given that perspective, the only thing that matters is what's eternal, what's permanent. Eternal means permanent. That means it's real. So the way he defines reality in the Course is anything that's permanent is real. And if it's impermanent, ephemeral, in other words, then it must be illusion, must be false. And that's the only way you can do it, isn't it? Well, if it doesn't last, then it was never real. It was a temporary illusion. It lasted for a while, but then disappears. So how could it be real for all time? It can't be real. Only eternity is real, because that lasts beyond all illusions of time. That fundamental eternal awareness, it will be there when the entire world, universe, cosmos is over. That awareness remains. Eternity remains. And we can access that right now. We live in this dual reality where we seem to be living in the illusion of time and space, but underlying it is like in the analogy of the ocean. The surface of the ocean is change. It's waves and currents and changing weather patterns and all that. But you just go beneath it, go half a mile down into the ocean, and it's constant. Nothing changes relatively in the ocean. Things are changing. Things still change, but relatively it's unchanged. It's just dark and quiet and silent. So in the same way, eternity underlies, it's the deep ocean. And then on the surface, all this stuff seems to happen. The waves come and go, the ripples, but it's all temporary. It's all ephemeral. And it's all just part of the ocean. Nothing's really changed. The eternal ocean is still there. It's just seemingly manifesting, in these temporary ripples, the ephemeral stuff on the surface level. And he's saying just none of that's really true. None of that's really real. So don't give it a reality. Don't attach to it. Certainly don't let it upset you. I mean, think about it in the analogy terms. The wave goes and it forms, and the wave crests, and it has its moment of glory at its crest, and then it crashes down.
Gone.
Gone. Wave's gone. Oh, the wave's died, but it hasn't really died, has it?
It's just back in the ocean.
It's gone back into the ocean. It was a temporary form that manifested. It's now back in the ocean, and then another wave will come and another one, and it just reforms, endlessly and continuously. And that's kind of what life is in this world. Nothing really dies. There's a temporary manifestation of, say, human life. It's a wave that crests. It has its prime and its glory, and then it collapses. it breaks, and then it goes back into the ocean. And
Mm-hmm.
we're all in some form of that, you know. We maybe a little ripple, maybe we're coming into the cresting of the wave stage, maybe the wave's breaking, seemingly crashing down, maybe we now, you know, almost back in the ocean. Doesn't really matter from that perspective where we are.
Mm.
When we actually always the ocean. The wave is always the ocean. It's never actually not the ocean. It can be deluded into believing that it has its own identity. You know, in its full glory of the wave, well, look at how powerful I am, look at how strong I am, I'm cresting, wow, isn't this amazing? But it's not going to last, is it? Very, very temporary.
Mm.
It's ephemeral, as he's saying, because it is in time, everything changes. So the wave will come crashing down. No matter what you achieve in your, you know, your pomp and glory and of the ego, it's going to fade away, and you'll just go back into the ocean. So if you can realize that as you you know, going through the motions of the wave, even in the cresting of the wave phase, and it's like, okay, but I realized I'm still the ocean. I haven't really departed at all. This is now just an expression or extension of the ocean happening in the wave formation. That's my life. Okay, so the ocean expresses in and through me, and I'm never disconnected from that. So I never feel separated and alone from the being, the ocean that is me. And then it just becomes that my wave expression of the ocean is in alignment with the ocean. It's not separating off from the ocean. It becomes a beautiful expression of the ocean for the time that it lasts, and then, you know, understand that it'll be gone. It's not going to last forever, and neither should it. You know, that's not the point. Point is to express it in the moment, in the now, and it, you know, it's constantly changing. The wave will change and evolve, and that's your life. But the ocean, which is the being that makes it up, doesn't change. As it's cresting and changing, the ocean remains. So it's quite a good analogy to think of this, time and eternity, because they can be a bit abstract. The wave in the ocean, I think, explains it quite well. All right. So any other thoughts on number 2?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Mm-hmm.
I think the key point here, just to highlight this, every response I make to everything I perceive is up to me, because my awareness determines my perception of it. It's saying it's up to me. My responsibility is to perceive correctly, and that's up to me. You know, which awareness am I going to listen to? The limited awareness of the ego, or my true awareness, which is connected to my pure formless awareness, which is spirit. That's the choice. And so, you know, my responsibility in this world is to continuously make that choice.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to read the next one, God does not change his mind. So God, the only translation here really will be God becomes pure formless awareness of perfect love, and the he's and hims will become its.
Right. Okay. Pure formless awareness of perfect love does not change its mind about me, for it is not certain of itself. And what it knows can
Not
be known,
uncertain.
Uncertain of itself. And what it knows can be known, because it does not know it only for itself. It extends me for itself, but it gave me the power to extend myself so I would be like it. That is why my true awareness is pure. Can anything exceed the pure formless awareness of perfect love? Therefore, can anything exceed my awareness? Nothing can reach me from beyond it, because being grounded in pure formless awareness of perfect love, I encompass everything. If I believe this, I will realize how much is up to me. When anything threatens my peace of mind, I will ask myself, has pure formless awareness of perfect love changed its awareness of me? Then I will accept its decision, for it is indeed changeless, and I refuse to change my awareness of myself. Pure formless awareness of perfect love will never decide against me, or it would be deciding against itself. So it's just,
Okay, so what's he saying here?
well, it's just saying if anything threatens our peace of mind, we ask ourselves, is this pure formless awareness of perfect love changed its awareness of us? We can just, this is why it's pure. Because this awareness of perfect love will never decide against us. It's always for us. So it's entirely up to us at every moment in time at which we choose, regardless of the situation.
Mm. Mm. No, accept its awareness of me, for it is indeed changes. And refuse to change my awareness of myself. So because God is permanent, this awareness is permanent, it hasn't changed at all. No matter what we think we've done to change it, it hasn't changed. It's still there. It's eternal. So we can always return back to it. If we could really change it, then it would be gone. We would have destroyed it, but we can't. This awareness remains, as it is, as it has always been. And our job is to just return our mind to that. It's always available to us. It can be known by us if we're willing. So our only job in this life is to be willing to listen to this awareness and this awareness only. When anything threatens my peace of mind, I will ask myself, has pure formless awareness of perfect love changed its awareness of me? How can it? That awareness of you is your awareness. It's fundamental. It cannot be changed. It's what gives you any awareness in any life. Completely changeless. And so really what he's saying is so simple, isn't it? It's just this is your own awareness. It's your own awareness that's eternal, that's always been there. It can't be changed. Just accept it. Stop denying it and resisting it. Just accept that this is the case. And when the ego tries to convince you otherwise, just remember this, that your awareness is actually unchangeable. And so you can remain unshakable in the face of whatever comes. Okay, so just read the summary quickly. Let's read it in one go.
Yeah. Nothing beyond myself can make me fearful or loving, because nothing is beyond me. Time and eternity exist within my mind and will conflict until I perceive time solely as a means to regain eternity. I cannot achieve this as long as I believe eternal factors cause events in my life. I must realize
External.
that I can.
External, not eternal. External.
Oh, yeah. That means to regain eternity. I cannot achieve this as long as I believe external factors cause events in my life. I must realize that I control time and no external event can strip me of this responsibility. While I can imagine violations of perfect love's law. I cannot escape their protection, which is as steadfast as my safety. Pure
So what he's
formless.
really saying here, just to summarize that briefly, we must
Yeah.
use time wisely. It's our responsibility to use time correctly, and I'm responsible for using time correctly. I'm just going to put that in here. And nothing can take my responsibility from me. No external event can strip me of this responsibility, can take away, shall we say, this responsibility. So we must use time wisely. Carry on.
Where am I? Pure formless awareness established there. Pure formless awareness of perfect love extends nothing besides me. Nothing else exists, since I am part of it. Everything real adds to it as I do, consistently without change. The only disturbances I can experience are from the ephemeral, which cannot be real if I am perfect love's sole extension, eternally extended by it. My awareness, coming from pure formless awareness of perfect love, establishes the reality of my experiences and my responses to events as my perceptions.
Okay, so summary of that in a minute. What's he saying there?
Well, the pure formless awareness extends nothing beside us, because nothing exists apart from it. Everything that's real adds to it, as we do, without any change. So the only disturbances are from the ephemeral circumstances and events.
Yeah, if I can just realize that those are ephemeral, so they don't mean anything. Actually, only pure formless awareness of perfect love means anything. Then I have the correct way of interpreting all of them. It doesn't really matter what happens; they're all false. They're all illusion, and I can remain in peace in my true awareness. Okay, next one.
Perfect love's certainty about me is unwavering, for it extends certainly to me. I too possess the power to extend my awareness, reflecting its extending nature. Nothing can exceed my awareness, which encompasses everything within perfect love. When my peace is threatened, I must question, has pure formless awareness of perfect love changed its awareness of me? Embracing its unchanging decision about me reinforces my unchangeable awareness of myself and understanding that perfect love cannot decide against me without contradicting itself.
Yes, what's he saying there?
Well, just this perfect love's awareness is certain and unwavering. And when our peace is threatened, we need to ask, is this pure formless awareness changed its awareness of us?
Yeah,
And
it's a very good question to ask. Has anything really changed? Circumstances seem to have changed, but my fundamental awareness has not changed one iota, depending, irrespective of what's happening on the surface of the ocean. Ripples and waves and crashing into other waves and seeming crisis and drama. None of that matters because I'm still the ocean. Okay, so and then just the key message to summarize it all in one short paragraph.
Yeah, I control my perception of time and reality, realizing that everything occurs within my mind. I'm an eternal extension of perfect love and wholly responsible for my responses to life's events. My inner peace and a fundamental awareness are unchangeable, reflecting the immutable nature of perfect love. So this is our,
Yeah, what's he saying there?
So we have the control of the perceptions that we experience in life, and it's our sole responsibility. So we choose this inner peace and fundamental awareness, which is unchangeable, and understand that the rest is unreal. It's changeable,
Yeah. Unchanging. Yeah, it's a very simple idea, and this is the key idea behind the whole course. There's truth, there's illusion, the truth is unchangeable. You can always go into the truth, you can go into the state of awareness if you choose to, and that's your responsibility, is to perceive any situation correctly and restore your mind into its unchanging awareness in that situation. And that's what forgiveness is. You let go of any misperceptions and you just restore your mind into this fundamental awareness, which is always there, has always been there. But the problem is if you don't acknowledge it, you don't honor it, then it's not there in your own reality. Okay, so that's the introduction. Doing quite well under half an hour. So let's go into next
Do you mind if I
section.
just take a quick minute toilet break, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No problem. All right.
Right. I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, back.
All right. So let's have a look at the next one. So this one is section 1. Which is at home in God, it's called, or at home in perfect love. Okay, so you want to
What do you have to
read
do? And then the
one?
alternative, because like I say, my father's going to be going out, so I need to I was going to make him a special dish.
Okay, I'm trying to finish in
Quickly,
half an hour.
Yeah, please. I do not know my extensions simply because I want to decide against them as long as my mind is split. But to attack what I have extended is really impossible. It is also as impossible for pure formless awareness of perfect love. The law of extension is that I must love my extensions as myself because they are part of me. Therefore, everything that extends from my source is perfectly safe because the laws of perfect love protect everything through perfect love. Any part of my mind that does not know this has banished itself from knowledge because it has not met the conditions of knowledge. Who but I could have done this? I recognize this gladly, for in this recognition lies the realization that my banishment does not come from pure formless awareness of perfect love, and therefore does not exist.
Okay, so what's he saying in summary of this?
So while our mind is split, we don't know our extensions, and we want to decide against them. So this is why our minds are split. We attack them. And what they're saying is the law of extension is that we must love our extensions as ourselves because they are part of it also. So everything that extends from the source is perfectly safe.
And what are our extensions? What do you understand as our extensions mean?
Our companions.
Well, no, he's talking about creation. So, but the law of creations, do you love your creations as yourself? So what are your creations? We translate that as extensions. You didn't create your companions, but what you create is your states of mind. Creations are really what he's referring to is things like love, peace, joy, happiness. Not referring to what you do on the level of form. Some people could interpret it that way, but it's actually your creations are what you extend from your mind. So if you're extending love, peace, and joy, those are your creations. If you extend fear, guilt, sin, anger, hatred, and attack, then those are your projections. You're going to create or extend, or you're going to project. It's one or the other.
Right.
And then, the circumstances, material stuff follows accordingly. And look at, people who've done this on a high level, one way or another. So Yeshua extended love, and what did he create or extend was a legacy of unconditional love and a source of courage and peace, happiness, joy for all time, for humanity through his life. That's his legacy. Take a opposite extreme, Hitler. He projected hatred, anger, guilt, fear out on the world, and his legacy was a horror show. His legacy was a world war that killed millions and millions of people. Holocaust, trying to exterminate a whole race of people, and that was his creation or extension from the split mind. So there you have, in those two human beings, very dramatic examples
Differences.
of the difference between
Mm.
extending from love or projecting from the ego at the extremes of them. What and the differences. The one created massive pain, suffering, a world war, conflict on a scale that hadn't been seen before, worldwide, and the other one created a legacy of love and peace and joy and a source of happiness and help for 2,000 years, and we're still talking about his life and learning his teachings. So, which do you want? That's what he's saying
Mm.
here. Which one of those are you going to go for? Because the choice is up to every person. As you said in the introduction, it's your responsibility. How are you going to use your time here? Are you going to misuse it, or are you going to use it for the only purpose it has, which is to be an instrument of love? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
happy with number one. Let's go to number
Yeah.
two. This is a great
I
line, actually. Quite often quoted. It's one of those passages that you see quoted in the course a lot. So I think read this one in the original as well.
yeah. You are at home in God, dreaming of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to reality. I am at home in the state of pure formless awareness, dreaming of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to reality. Is it your decision to do so? Is it my decision to do so? You recognize from your own experience that what you see in dreams, you think it real while you are asleep. I recognize from my own experience that while I'm asleep, I think that what I perceive in dreams is real. Yet the instant you awaken, you realize that everything that seemed to happen in the dream did not happen at all. Yet the moment I wake up, I realize that everything that seemed to happen in the dream did not happen at all. You do not think this strange, even though all the laws of what you awakened to were violated while you slept. I do not think this strange, even though all the laws of what I awakened to were violated while I slept. It is not possible that you merely shifted from one dream to another without really waking. It is not possible that I merely shifted from one dream to another without really
Mm.
waking up. And
Mm.
from the top, I am,
Yeah.
at, I am at home in the state of pure formless awareness, dreaming of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to reality. It is my decision to do so. I
Is
recognize
it
from,
question, Elaine? Is it my decision to
oh,
do so?
is it my decision to do so? I recognize from my own experience that while I am asleep, that I think that what I perceive in dreams is real. Yet the moment I wake up, I realize that everything that seemed to happen in the dream did not happen at all. I do not think this strange, even though all the laws of what I awakened to were violated while I slept. Is it not possible that I merely shifted from one dream to another without really waking up? Yeah.
Quite profound what he's saying there.
Mm.
Okay, so how do you know? You go to sleep at night, you dream. When you're in the dream, it seems to be real. You wake up and the dream's gone.
Mm.
We've all had that feeling. Oh, well, no, thank goodness it was only a dream.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, back in the real world. Well, how do you know, he says, that when you wake up, so-called to the real world, how do you know that's the real world?
Mm.
Is it not
You don't.
possible that you merely shifted from one dream to another without really waking up? Just another dream state.
Mm.
Seemingly maybe more real, more difficult to get out of, but still a dream.
Mm.
So a dream within a dream, as Edgar Allan Poe says. Life is just a dream within a dream. And that's what he's proposing here. How do we know that we're not dreaming? It seems to be real, but then in your dream, it seemed to be real. You know, you have thoughts, you have emotions, you have experiences, and then, you know, all of that's just mind created. It's all gone in your dream. So how do we know that's not just happening on in another dream? Yeah. And if you're honest, you don't. Like the fish in water, you know, say to the fish, what's the water? What's the ocean? They don't understand the question. Well, just I don't even understand what you mean. It's just what it is, you know. It's the seeming reality in which I operate. So if it doesn't know anything else, then how would it know that there's something called air? Unless it flies out and goes, oh, actually, it'd be a flying fish and I could, you know, escape from this. In the same way, how do we know that we're not just dreaming? Well, the way we know is that when we go into an altered state of consciousness beyond the dream, another experience, then you come into that awareness, and that experience of pure formless awareness or revelation tells you that, you know, everything here is a dream. I've had an experience like that. It's like, well, that was an awareness, that was a reality. I experienced it for that short time. How do I know that that's not reality and that this whole world in my life here isn't the dream? And that's exactly what he's proposing here. That is actually the case. He's very cleverly asking us just to question. He's using questions, so he's not just telling us. He's saying, is it not possible? Consider that I merely shifted from one dream to another without really waking up. And anyone who's honest will go, yeah, well, actually, maybe that is possible. How can I say for sure that it's real? It's only my perception tells me it's real. But that's just my perception. Maybe I was perceiving in a dream and I thought it was real. So how do I know that this is real? So there's no, you know, no such thing as like an objective perceiver. We are completely bound up in the illusion. And whatever you're perceiving, as quantum mechanics says, affects the dream. You know, there's no reality in the absence of observation, is what quantum mechanics says. So in other words, your perception of it gives the world its reality. You are the dreamer of the dream. You dream the dream, and you create that dream. You create the reality of the dream in your mind, just like you do at night. You know, you couldn't have the dream if there wasn't a dreamer. In the same way, we couldn't have a world if there wasn't a dreamer to perceive it. And we're just making it up as we go along. It just seems to be more real because there's certain fixed elements that everyone shares. So it's a collective dream. It's a shared dream. Oh, well, I see the wall, you see the wall. We agree the wall's there. Or maybe we both dream it. We dream it. We share dream that there's a wall. We'll watch later on in the year, watch Inception again, which is another movie about dreams and the dream within a dream. Very, very interesting.
Perception, yeah.
Yeah, about, you know, a shared dream. Well, how do you know? It's because someone else says it's real, and we all agree it's real. How do we know we're not just all dreaming? We're just sharing the same, you know, collective dream. So we see the similar elements, but then within the dream, people's perception varies greatly. You can see the same apparent thing, but then you perceive it completely differently, which then creates your version of the dream and another person's version of the dream. So the dream isn't stable because the dream isn't reality. The dream is ephemeral. It's perceptual. It's why we can never find agreement in the dream. It's why there's so much disagreement, because everyone's got their different perceptions of the shared dream. Only in true reality, in pure formless awareness of perfect love, can we find that fundamental unity. And that's beyond dreaming. And that's really what he's saying here. Okay, and then he continues on in the same vein in paragraph 3. So would you bother to reconcile? Just read this one in the alternative. The translation with the Holy Spirit becomes a remembrance of love.
Would I bother to reconcile what happened in conflicting dreams, or would I dismiss both together if I discovered that neither is reality? I do not remember being awake. When I hear the remembrance of perfect love, I may feel better, because loving then seems possible to me. But I do not remember yet that it once was so. And it is in this remembering that I will know it can be so again. What is possible has not yet been accomplished. Yet if something is eternal, what has once been must be so now. When I remember fully, I will know that what I remember is eternal and therefore is available right now. So it's just saying, would we bother to reconcile what happened in conflicting dreams? Or would we dismiss both together if we knew that it was discovered that neither were reality?
Hmm.
When we see this remembrance of perfect love, we may feel better. So, but we don't remember what was once so. It's in this remembering that we will know it and be so again. So something that is eternal, what has once been must be so now.
Yeah. So if
So
it's
it's
eternal,
basically right now, the eternal now. I know
if it's
what.
eternal, it means it must be there now, because that's the whole point of eternal. It's permanent. So in time, it seems to be possible. So what is possible has not yet been accomplished. Maybe we should just say in time. Yet if something is eternal, what has once been must be so now. Right? So we had that awareness before time was. We had this pure formless awareness of perfect love. If that awareness is indeed eternal, then that must still be the case, because that's what eternal means. It's permanent. So it's still the case now. And in the now, you have the intersection of time, linear time, with eternity.
Yeah.
So now is the closest approximation of eternity in this world that we can come to, which is why it's fundamental to all of the great spiritual teachings. Well, come into the now, because then you're coming in to this eternal state that's always been there, and you're starting to experience that again. And that's your awakening. You start experiencing that state of being that is who you really are, that's eternal in the now. That feels good. That feels, that's happiness, that's peace.
Yeah.
And then you stay there. I'm in the now. I'm staying there. Really, I'm in the eternal now moment. I'm in my eternal pure formless awareness when I'm in the now, and I'm remaining there. So I live in the world, and I'm still having these seemingly experiences as a body, but actually my state is rooted in this deeper awareness, the light, the eternal light that never changes. And that's available always in every moment. That's available right now. It's simply my choice. Do I want to experience that now, or do I want to experience something else? He's saying use time wisely to experience only this and let go of all the other experiences that you've made up, because none of them make you happy. So it's available right here, right now, in our awareness, and it's our job simply to choose it moment by moment by moment. And that's the practice. Forgiveness is the practice of choosing the spirit, pure formless awareness in the now, moment by moment by moment, and just letting go of the temptation to go out of that, to go into the past or the future, which is, of course, what the ego wants you to do. So you get tested. Temptations are there to knock you out of this eternal state of mind, and the Holy Spirit's there to bring you back to it. Yeah, okay. Happy with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Number 4. Let's read that in the alternative, nothing much to translate there.
I will remember the truth the moment I desire it wholly. For if to desire wholly is to know, I will have undone the apparent separation and returned my mind simultaneously to my source and my extensions. Knowing them, I will have no wish to sleep, but only desire to wake up and be glad. Dreams will be impossible because I will want only the truth, and being at last my whole desire, it will be mine.
Okay, what's he saying there?
Well, we need to remember the truth the moment we desire it wholly, and not wander off into our desires. Or we won't
It's
have
a
undone.
reinterpretation of desire by the Holy Spirit, saying, you know, the only desire is to know God, i.e., to know your true self, know thyself, as the inscription at the Temple of Apollo at Delphi said. That should be your only desire. The desire of the awakening person, the spiritual initiate, is I want to know myself above all else. I want to know that. So when I desire that wholly, what happens is that desire brings us back into the awareness that it's desiring. And that's the merging of the Father and the Son. So I desire it from my seemingly separated self. I feel separated, but I desire to be whole again. And on the other side, this awareness has this tremendous pulling power. It's pulling us back into it. So, you know, when he says, well, God wants you to awaken. God wills you to peace and joy and happiness. It's the best we can do in language to say that this awareness is kind of pulling you there, and you also want to go there. And when you get in alignment with that, you desire to go there. You're not resisting it. It goes, okay, well, I'll just pull you there, and there's no resistance, and you get pulled faster, like it's sucked into that awareness to ultimately become one with that awareness. So there's no difference between you and that awareness. So your whole desire takes you back into that awareness. And that's the Holy Spirit's reinterpretation of desire. Okay, my only desire is to know God, because that desire will ultimately take me back into the experience, the full experience, pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's what he's saying here. And then the dream is over. Dreams will be impossible. And being at last my whole desire, it will be mine. So, but we have to let go of all other desires. So relating it to today's lesson, the idle wishes and the grievances that come out of them must be dropped. Because as long as I've got those going on, I'm not wholly desiring God and to know myself. And then I've got another will going on, another awareness going on. That's the ego, which will block the pure formless awareness of perfect love from my mind consistently. Okay, does it make sense?
It does.
Pretty simple teaching, but you know, as usual, very profound. This passage, number 3, I think was number 2, is very, very oft quoted. It's one of the most quoted passages. You're at home in God, dream of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to reality. Is it your decision to do so? And then this whole dream thing. Saying, you know, this is just another, you're just dreaming a dream. How do you know you're not dreaming? Okay, so just the summary to do. You can do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I do not know my extensions because I choose to oppose them while my mind is divided. Yet it is really impossible to attack what I have extended, as it is of pure formless awareness of perfect love. I must love my extensions as myself because they are part of me, and everything that extends from my source is protected by the law of perfect love. Any part of my mind that does not recognize this has excluded itself from knowledge. I acknowledge this willingly, understanding that my sense of banishment is not from pure formless awareness of perfect love, and thus it does not exist.
Make it simpler, and so is non-existent. Okay, so what's he saying there in summary?
It's just talking about our extensions, because while the mind is divided, it's impossible to attack what we have extended as as it is a pure formless awareness. So we must love our extensions as our self, because they are part of us. So everything that extends from the source is protected by the laws of perfect love. And if any part of the mind doesn't recognize this, it excludes itself from knowledge. So again, down to choice. As soon as that,
understanding that my banishment doesn't come from pure formless awareness. The idea that I've been banished, that's the Garden of Eden myth. Oh, God banished us from the garden. So what we've done is we projected our own decision to separate onto this imaginary God and said, well, God, now a fearful, wrathful, vengeful God, has banished us. But you see how the mind works. It's just projection of its own desire onto this false God. Actually, God has nothing to do with it. It's just our own choice. So God didn't put us here and abandon us. It's our own choice that's put us here, and it's our own choice that will take us back home. Yeah, very, very, very simple, but nevertheless, these delusions are long-standing. I mean, the Adam and Eve Garden of Eden story has been going for 3,000 years or something. And people believe it. Oh, well, God banished us and now we're doomed to suffer as a punishment. But actually, no, we just excluded ourselves from the Garden of Eden. And we can go back to the garden anytime we want. The garden is obviously symbolic of the state of pure formless awareness. We can return anytime we choose to. God doesn't banish us. In fact, God's welcoming us back. Come home. The prodigal son story is the alternative to the Garden of Eden one. The correct interpretation is like, well, we banished ourselves. The son chose to leave. The father had nothing to do with it. And then, but the son must willingly want to return. And the father, because it has no judgment, the source doesn't judge anything you've done, welcomes you back and says, welcome home, great to have you back. And I'm so pleased that you've returned home. Okay, so next one, I'm at home. So he's saying, again, the home theme, I'm at home.
I'm at home in the state of pure formless awareness, merely dreaming of exile, yet fully capable of awakening to reality. My experiences in sleeping dreams seem real, but when I wake up, I realize they were not. This raises the possibility that I might still be asleep and dreaming in my seemingly waking state in this world.
Yeah, so I must ask myself, so what's he saying in this one?
Well, we seemingly think this sleeping dream is real, but when we wake up, we realize that it was a dream. So we need to ask ourselves honestly if we are still asleep and dreaming in a seemingly waking state in this world.
Yeah. And if we're honest, we go, well, I can't really say. Actually, that may well be the case. Although it seems to be very real, how do I know I'm not just dreaming? It's just another version of the dream that seems to be very real. But so was the dream when I was dreaming at night, seeming that when we're dreaming at night and we're having a nightmare, it seems to be very real to us. Same thing. So how do I know? Well, honestly, if I'm honest, I can't really say. I can't know, which means that it's very much a possibility. And this is how he's starting to teach us. Okay, well, it's a possibility. Well, maybe that is actually so. If the first step in accepting a truth is to accept the possibility of it, isn't it? Don't necessarily accept it, but you go, okay, well, maybe it's possible. Because if you go, no, it's not possible, there's no chance you'll ever accept it. So, okay, well, maybe that logic is valid. Maybe it is possible. Then you start the process. Okay, well, maybe it's possible. Can in time become, yes, it actually is possible. I believe that it's not just possible, that actually is the case. And so you see how he's teaching us. We're still early stages in this course, only lesson 70. he's like starting to like awaken the mind. So, okay, we'll just consider these questions.
Consider
So very,
possibility.
very clever teaching, through the questions. He's telling us on one hand, but then he also uses a lot of questions to get us to question ourselves and say, okay, we'll come to your own conclusion. Because he knows that if you come to your own conclusion, that's much more likely to stick than someone just telling you, okay, this is the way it is, blindly accept
Yeah.
it, blind faith. That's never worked particularly well. It just breeds a certain sort of dogmatic, unthinking, mindless almost attachment. That's what many religions try and do. But the spiritual masters saying, oh, think for yourself, question. There's a logic to this. The Buddha said as well, don't accept anything I say, but question it with your own mind, using your own logic, and come to your own conclusions. Whether what I'm saying is true or not. And Yeshua's doing the same thing here. Okay, so then again, the theme of questioning. I must question the point, trying to reconcile conflicting dreams once I recognize they aren't real.
I recognize my sense of
Carry on with
suffering.
that?
Yep. I recognize. Sorry. Sorry, I'm jumping again. I must question. Yeah, I must question the point of trying to reconcile conflicting dreams once I recognize they aren't real. But when I fully remember the truth, I will understand that what is eternal is available right now. I will remember the truth completely when I desire it without reservation, undoing my belief in separation, and fully waking up to my unity with my source and my extensions, which are expressions of love. This complete desire for truth will ensure it becomes mine and ends the illusions of my dreams.
And what's he saying here? Key point of that is the whole desire for truth will bring that experience to me.
Yeah.
So that's the reinterpretation of desire in this world. The Holy Spirit says, desire only the truth, only God, only to know yourself, and that desire will ultimately take you back to the whole deal, to the whole truth, to the experience of that and only that. And that's the way ultimately out, isn't it? You can redirect your desire. Instead of desiring the idle wishes of the ego, you can desire God and God alone. And that's what happens when you start on a spiritual path. You start to reorient your desire and saying, really, all I want is the truth. However you frame that, I want the truth, or I want to know myself, or I want to know God. It's all the same question. I want to know reality. I want to know what the matrix is. All the same question, isn't it? I desire only to know the truth. And when you have that, then you'll start to awaken. I remember before I came to the course, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I want the truth. Like really, I'd read various books, teachings. They kind of made sense, but I felt like there's still something missing. It's like, okay, I want the truth. There was a very clear desire for that above all else. And then jump, the course comes, and it gets given to you because that was my desire. I was basically saying to the universe, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. And Spirit's okay, we got a live one here. He's ready. So let's bring it into his awareness. And and when you're ready, the teacher appears. But you must be ready. So the door has to open from the inside. You can't force anyone. Don't say, okay, there it is. No, you won't be ready. A couple of years before, no, many years, maybe 6, 7 years before, I'd come across the Power of Now. And I remember reading the first chapter of it because it was given as a freebie by someone who was on their mailing list. And I was like, didn't really get it. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, But then a year later, I read it and I was like, I was more ready. I was like, oh my God, what's he actually saying? This is profound. I realized that I'd actually been in the future my entire life and that I'd been missing the now and I hadn't really been living. I was like, oh my God, this is like a revolution in just my perception of everything, who I am, perception of the world. And I kind of got it. I remember then reading, going like, I couldn't wait to read each chapter. I'd read one chapter a night. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing. I can't wait to read this before bed. It was like, just because I was ready for it. Before I wasn't. It's like, didn't kind of resonate. So the door's open from the inside. It's saying, just give your whole desire to this and this alone. And inevitably, if that's the case, you will awaken. If that's your only desire, it's inevitable that you'll awaken to the truth. Not to say you won't be challenged and tested, but then your desire for the truth and the truth alone sees you through. It says, okay, I'm not interested in any of the ego's distractions. Stay focused on, the truth, and then just practice this teaching. And then we all get to a kind of point where we have to make that choice and really get serious about it. I went through a midlife crisis, and was like, okay, I'm either going to collapse under this and go into some kind of mental breakdown or commit suicide, or I'm going to practice and practice and practice and go much deeper into this, because I want to know the truth. I want to get through this and know who I really am. And so, that these crisis situations are our making. So that's how we can really wake up. And I think that's what we have to. So if it happens to you, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's just correctly interpreting it with this perspective. All right, so then just the key message to wrap it up.
Yeah, I recognize that my sense of separation and dreams of exile are illusions. By fully desiring truth, I reconnect with my source and extensions, realizing that everything I experience as reality in this world is just a dream compared to the eternal reality of the state of pure formless awareness.
Yeah, so what's he saying there? In a nutshell.
Just letting us, just recognizing that this sense of separation that we're dreaming are just merely illusions. Well, not just merely, they are illusions. And if we fully desire the truth, we can reconnect with the source and its extensions and just realize that everything we experience in this world is just a dream compared to our eternal reality of state of pure formless awareness.
And it's just remembering that when you're dreaming. The practice is wake up while you're dreaming. Remember, don't fall for the dream. Don't get sucked into it. Remember that you're just dreaming, that whatever happens here is a dream. It's of no consequence. It means absolutely nothing because it's all false, and that your true awareness is still there underneath the illusions and the level of perception. There lies your true awareness. So it's the ground of being that underlies the dream. And he's asking us to go into that. No matter what seems to happen, go into that awareness without exception. So if you look at, just to wrap this up, look at the timeline, going back to what we looked at earlier. No matter what seems to be happening on the timeline and whatever the dramas are, underlying it or transcending it, whichever you're more comfortable with, you could go deeper or you could go higher. Ultimately, there's no space in this. So, we have to use one of those analogies to help us grasp it. So going above it or going deeper than it, you go into your true awareness. And no matter what happens, that's always available. So as he's saying here, what's eternal is now, it's always been. At any point in your journey in time and space, through the now, you can go into this state. You can access that state. The blue arrow of the Holy Spirit, remembrance of perfect love and of this awareness takes you there. You can access that state. You can experience it. You can draw courage, strength, any experience that you need, and then from that you can now perceive the situation again correctly. So that's why it's a double arrow. You go up and then you come back down. So you upload into the source and then you experience that, and then you download and you get guidance. Okay, so now how do I perceive this situation correctly? And what do I do about it? But now not coming from the ego's limited linear time perspective, it's coming from this higher perspective of my true awareness that transcends the dream. And that becomes the guide that then guides you forward in the dream, in this miracle-minded or flowing way. Which wraps it up quite nicely because, we come full circle from our discussion at the beginning.
That's good
you see now the source of this. Yeah, very good session. So thanks, Elaine.
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
enjoy
right.
these sessions a lot, my own practice. So thank you for joining. It's
Yeah,
really necessary. I'm
very
not into
helpful.
monologues. I heard a guy called Keith Kavanagh, and he does these long
Oh,
Zoom
he's
calls.
brilliant, him, isn't he? I think
But sure, to speak for an hour and a half with no questions or interaction is
full
quite
on.
difficult.
Yeah, he's good
Yeah,
though.
like
I,
I think the
I, I, re
interactivity is nice, the
I
questions
do,
and mm,
yeah, I resonate with him. He's another good resource for the course. Keith,
mm.
I can't pronounce his
Yeah, and
surname,
he's
but
teaching Ken Wapnick. So
yes,
Ken,
yeah,
he's almost like a reincarnation of Ken Wapnick, although he's not because
absolutely,
he was alive when
yes,
Ken was alive. But
yeah,
he's kind of taking on that teaching tradition. So Ken was the first teacher of the course,
yes,
so he was the original teacher, and then there's been many others. But the way he interpreted it and the way he taught it was a combination of sort of pure non-dual, so taking on the Advaita,
mm-hmm,
really Advaita Vedanta perspective, with a influence of psychology, modern Western psychology,
yeah.
coming in. And so I think Keith has just gone, okay, I'll study all
He's
Ken's.
reincarnation of him. Yeah,
Yeah, well, he's just taken all of his work and his books and listened to him, and he's downloaded. He's gone, okay, so I'm like
mm,
now teaching
yeah, no,
what King taught in his own, in his own style.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, it's good. He's good. Yeah, no, he's a good resource as well.
mm.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. There's
so all good.
few that you
Uh,
resonate with, and he's one of them. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's all good. Yeah, we're at a good time with all these
Mm,
teachers. It's yeah.
mm. Well, there's never been a better time to awaken. I think
No,
the
no.
resources
This is the chance.
are there. The course is there. It's freely available. There's all
Mm,
these sources of people giving stuff.
resources. Yeah, wonderful
Really?
resources.
Yeah.
Internet
Like 20
teachers.
years ago, YouTube didn't exist. Now, like you just go on YouTube and you know,
Yeah, it's incredible.
loads of stuff. The
Yeah,
lessons, people's interpretations, various teachers.
yeah,
And so it's all there.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you free or
I
for
used
very
to like
little.
Eckhart Tolle, but I've sort of, dare I say it, I seem to have grown out of him a bit, but he's still, I still resonate with him. But like I say, you occasionally, you know,
Mm.
have other ones that I know that, it sort of hits a chord.
Well, what I'd say about Eckhart is it's not necessarily pure non-dual. I've heard him say things that are definitely not purely
Right.
non-dual. He'll say, oh, well, 90% of the time, this is the case, and 10% of occasions, well,
Mm.
your worry is justified. But the truth is that it's not, it's 100%. The
Yeah.
course is a
Yeah.
pure
Got you.
non-dual saying, it doesn't really matter, what's happening in the dream, even if a apparent disaster is happening, it's still the same.
Yeah.
Nothing's really changed because eternal awareness hasn't changed. So it's just a more radical position that the course
Mm.
takes, which you realize as you advance is the only way out. You can't kind of
Yeah.
compromise and go,
Yeah. No,
oh well, in some instances the ego is right. You can't because you're never going to get out of the
no,
system. You've got to
no.
just go, no, it's it's
You're still
entirely
back at the
that. It's
split
100%
mind.
that.
You're
There are
still
no
flip flopping.
exceptions.
Yeah.
It's
The
still
flip
flip
flopping.
flopping.
Yeah.
So
Mm. Yeah.
pure Eckhart is very valuable and useful for people
Oh, yeah.
starting,
Especially that
no
book,
doubt.
Power Now. Yeah, that was an
Power of now. I
excellent.
mean,
I,
it was
I read
definitely
it.
part of my journey.
Yeah,
But
excellent
then
book.
you go beyond it. The course takes it to another level. And interestingly, he started teaching the course. So he refers to the course quite often in his teachings.
Yeah,
I've seen him
yeah.
reading on stage as well. So he's using it as a resource as well.
So
How
it's been a
much he
great
studied it
benefit for him.
into, I
Yeah,
don't know.
been good benefit.
But evidently
Hmm.
recognizes there's truth there.
Yeah.
And maybe he recognizes that, what he's teaching is for a certain audience, just like Yeshua taught in parables. You didn't teach people the whole truth because they couldn't necessarily accept it.
No, no. Yeah.
So
So bit by bit to meet them at
what if
where they're
you
at.
really
Yeah.
go into the radical, non-dual stuff, audience will diminish. There's no doubt, and it's not
Yeah,
everyone will
yeah,
get
because
them.
it's too radical. Yeah.
Too radical. People will go, I'm not willing to accept that, but I'm willing to accept some of it. So, then he teaches them some of the truth, and it's, yeah, well, you can just find the now, go into the now and
Yeah.
mindfulness and so on. And yeah, I can accept that. And so it's a starting point.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
in,
Yes.
into
Yeah. Very
deeper
good starting
exploration, which
point.
may end up in the course, or in the end, it all ends up in non-duality. Every
Hmm.
spiritual path, if you follow it, will eventually lead you to a non-dual teaching and understanding, whether that
Yeah.
happens through the course or whether through another path like some of the mystic traditions of Sufism, Christian mysticism, Advaita Vedanta is the
Mm.
is the Eastern one. Whichever way you do it, you'll end up at the same point.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
bit like
Yeah.
climbing the mountain. There's many paths up the mountain, but when you get to the top, it converges in one place. It's the
Yeah.
same,
Yeah.
same spiritual teaching. And
Yeah.
you do see that in the different traditions, whether it's Buddhism or Advaita Vedanta or Christianity or Sufism, Islam. At the highest, the highest practitioners of those paths come to the same awareness. They say very,
Mm.
very similar things about, who they are, the nature of reality, and
Yeah.
so on. As I said earlier, Yeshua and the Buddha, they really agreed. They didn't say anything different. They just stated it differently
Yeah.
because they were in different cultures, there was different context, different language, and so on. So it comes down, with a different flavoring, but actually it's really the same essential message, which I realized when I did the Vipassana retreats. It's like, oh, this is actually nothing really different from the course. It's just a different perspective on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
different
Yeah.
framing,
Leading to the same truth. Yeah.
leading to the same truth.
In
So,
the awareness.
as Yeshua even says, it's the truth is universal.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's many ways to God. They all end up in God in the end. He says that in the, I think it's the clarification of terms.
Yes.
Um, so they all paths lead to the same place. There's just, there's paths that take a very long time. There's a dualistic path. It's going to take you time to get over that, and you're going to have to see that the duality ultimately doesn't serve you. You're probably have to gonna
You need to
evolve
move
into.
on. Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
Whereas the
Yeah.
course is pure non-dual, and you can go the whole way with it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
stick
Well, I know
this
I'm
and you
still on the flip-floppy side. So yeah. So it's still still ongoing. Yeah. Yeah.
But you
But
have a teaching. You see, the teaching, it doesn't equivocate. That's the beauty of it. The
mm,
teaching doesn't confuse you. It's only your own vacillation and your own
yes,
unwillingness to fully accept the teaching. That's the problem. The teaching is
that's the
very, very clear.
problem. Yes,
No.
that's the
Whereas
problem.
some
But I,
teachings are
mm,
confusing. Some teachings vacillate. Some teachings have dualistic elements in them, which
yes,
then confuse you. Okay, well, is that
that's
teaching correct? Or not? Maybe my vacillation is correct because the teaching is telling me that,
hmm.
that's okay.
But you don't feel good though. So therefore, that's you realize that's not you're not in the right state. Yeah.
Then the search
So,
will continue until you realize the truth. Until you find that fundamental peace,
yeah.
authentic happiness, and you're able to live in that in a state of flow, the search will continue because something in you is going to say it's still not right. I still
Yeah.
am not
That's the
fully
problem.
happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you seek
Exactly.
and you seek until you find the answer. And then, with the course, I was like, when I was like, okay, finally, I found the truth. Now it's just a case of going deeper into this. I
Yes.
just need to really understand this. So it's like, okay, deeper and deeper, and I can just practice this
Just
and practice
yeah.
this. I don't need to keep looking for the truth. I found it. It's just
Yeah.
now my acceptance of it. That's the problem. I haven't fully accepted it. So the
No. No.
practice
Yeah.
with the course helps you to accept it more deeply
Yes.
and
Yeah.
go
So
deeper. There's
keep
many
going.
spiritual seekers that go wide and they go, oh, well, I'll search for this and I'll go to this talk. I knew a couple of
Mm.
daughter and her mother. Literally every night they were at a different talk. 3,
All
4,
right.
5 nights, different talks all over the city. It's like, hang on, that's not going to get you anywhere.
Flippy floppy again. Yeah.
Oh, well, as you're just thinking, it's like find a path and go deeper into it and use that
Yeah.
time instead of another talk to practice and go more deeply into it and internalize the lessons and do your own spiritual practice and
Mm.
meditate. That's better use of your
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
than going to another talk.
Yes. No, it's true.
So once
Yeah.
you've got the truth, you've got the course, it's just, okay, we'll go deeper into it. And it'll take you all the way home. And then that's why, I created the Art of Letting Go program, because I was like, well, what I think is missing is a way to deepen people's experience of it. So how do you go really deep? How do you study it, on a deep level, quite intensively, with all the tools and resources to help you? I couldn't find a program that did that. So I was like, okay, well, I better create
You
it.
devised your own, yeah. No, it's good.
Well,
No, it's very good.
to help people to have an immersion experience into this most profound teaching. It's just the most incredible, profound teaching in the world. And yet, sadly, most people, if they just read it, they pick up the book and they start reading it cold, they might go, what?
I know. Which I did. I used to think, oh, yeah, Bible. Yeah.
Bible, the language.
Yeah, exactly. It is off-putting.
The terminology, the language is quite strange when you start with it. It's kind of almost old-fashioned English.
It's a shame, yeah.
No, that's not for me. But it's a shame because there's so much wisdom, and there's a transformation that this can bring about in their own mind.
Yeah.
And
so
that just requires a disciplined practice, program to help that. And if we weren't doing live calls, 3 times a week, you probably wouldn't do that. You wouldn't practice.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
So that's the reason why there's a structure. Like, okay, well, there's the live calls, there's the material coming down. Okay, well, it's all there for you to facilitate that you work with it and you practice it.
Yeah. Yes, still work in progress.
On that note, enough practice for today.
Yeah,
3.5
brilliant.
hours. Let's call it here.
Yeah.
Elaine. I think you've had your 3 sessions. So let's see you again on
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, brilliant. Yeah. Excellent.
Okay,
see you
again Sunday. Go well in the meantime.
Oh, hang on a second. Sunday, I'm traveling back to Tenerife. So I'm probably, I don't know if I'm going to be back in time.
Sunday evening, 7:30. So
I'm not going to be getting in till about 8 in the evening. So in the house about 9, and then I've got the sitter. That's not going to be doable on Sunday. Yeah. So, Monday.
Okay.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you very much, Jono. Yeah. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest
Namaste.
of your day.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so that's a wrap for today. Thank you to Elaine for joining, as always, making this session possible. That it wasn't a monologue, it was an interaction, a discussion. If you enjoyed this and you're watching the live stream or recording, then why not join us on this program? You can join the live calls too. Just go to theaolg.com to find out how you can do that. You can join one of our live sessions soon, and also go to lifebuild.com. Both of those URLs are below in the text attached to this video on YouTube to get some of the material that I shared. So you can get the daily quote sent to you with the teachings, a sort of blog post around it, and the daily lesson from the course with the alternative interpretation, and usually 1 or 2 meditations. So either a short breath break, sometimes a longer meditation to help you practice that. That all happens via Telegram, so you just need to download and install Telegram on your phone or tablet, and you can then receive that material completely free of charge. So go to lifebuild.com to do that. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and you enjoyed this content, you'd like to be notified whenever we go live, then please hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified by YouTube whenever we go live, which is typically 6 days a week. So I hope to catch you on the inside soon. Thanks for listening, and see you soon. Namaste. Which means the true awakened self in me, Christ in me, not as one as the true awakened Christ self in you. Wishing you much love, peace, and joy.